This is a belated meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority. Today is May 30th. Present today are Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Ford, General Counsel Riano, Deputy Commissioner of Licensing Held, and myself, Secretary Donahue. Excuse me. The next meetings of the authority will be June 13th, June 27th, July 11th, and July 25th. Those are all Wednesdays. We're going to call the items in the order they are signed in for the most part. We're going to start with a couple of items here in New York, then go to Buffalo, then Albany, and then back to New York. As your item is called, please approach the podium and speak into the microphone so that we get the recording done. And please announce your name as your item is, as you come up to the podium. Chairman, you have anything else before we get started?
No.
Okay. First item is here in New York. It's 1117, Canto Euro Caribbean Cuisine Corp. Come on up. Yep. This is the one with the interpreter. No, up there. Your client hasn't come yet? All right, have a seat. All right, have a seat. When they get here, let me know.
I think you did, and then it went away.
All right, the next item. Mr. Mailer, 1116 East Coast Fish Market, Inc.
Morning, Martin Mailer, Buscemi. My client. Coming up here. This is an application for a restaurant wine license. It was before this board in October of 2016. It was approved by this board in October of 2016. There were unforeseen delays relating to the C of O. I see there's opposition. Do you want them to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Clint Smeltzer. I am the Vice Chair of the CB3 SLA Committee. As he started to say, they were approved previously. Their approval expired. They came back to us for an approval. We denied them again. They were asking for additional hours later than your original approval, and they asked for an open facade, which you specifically denied them when they requested it the first time. So we are simply asking that it be, if it is chosen to be approved again, that you issue the same stipulations and conditions that you did the first time on the original approval.
So are you implying that besides those two changes, the board it was acceptable otherwise?
No, we still denied it outright. We're just saying if you choose to approve it again,
okay, that
you put the same conditions on that you did the first time.
Okay.
We were asked by the License Bureau to make a statement to that effect, and we did, that we would adhere to the original conditions, although we are asking for an additional hour on Friday night and Saturday night. And if the doors...
What about the facade? Are you asking to open the facade?
If the board chooses not to allow us, no. But what we're simply trying to do is, on, let's say, a spring day or a fall day till 10 p.m., if we can keep open those accordion doors, that would be very helpful to us. But if you're that adamant against that, then we will.
Well, I mean, nothing's changed except, in my view, except that they didn't open.
Well,
does she have a CO now?
Yeah, she'll have one I spoke to the architect.
Because I saw the pictures. It looks like there's still no. Are these new pictures or?
They're not that. If you look at it now, they're
okay.
You're also adding a kitchen, though.
Excuse me?
You're adding a kitchen also?
No, there is a kitchen. But look, if you make it conditioned on, obviously, completion photos, yes. If you make it conditioned on adhering to the original conditions, that's fine, too. And obviously a CO, which is in the offing by the end of June. I mean, part of the problem was getting the buildings department to get their inspectors to come down there, but it's just about over now.
Okay.
And you're reducing the seating to 140?
That's correct.
From what?
160.
From
160?
We're trying to make it more palatable, if you will. Yeah, and the kitchen was moved downstairs.
And there's some information in here from the community board that indicates, because obviously she's aware of the history this place had prior to that.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
And there's some information in here that she's somehow in a business relationship with the former owners here? Not in this license, but in other licenses?
It's a personal
Oh,
relationship.
personal relation. But they're not going to be part of this?
No. They realize, no, they're not. No.
Who owns the building? He owns the
Yeah. The same conditions existed in October. of
I know. Okay. You ready?
What are the additional hours, by the way, you're asking for?
The hours as they stood in October of 2016 was midnight across the board.
Right.
We're asking that Friday and Saturday night that they be allowed to stay open 1 hour, one additional hour to 1 p.m., 1 a.m.
Well, that's not happening. So you can ask that question, but
Okay.
you ready?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Let me see.
You know. So no to the closing times, additional closing times, no to the facade. I guess that leaves everything pretty much the way it is, isn't it, or what?
Yeah, I'll vote to approve the way, with all the stipulations that were in place last time.
All right. Thank you very much.
Next item, 1028, Barlight Enterprises, Inc. Is you, Mr. Mueller?
All right. I don't know. Yeah.
Could one of you come up and,
All you have to say is accept. Come on, this is a speed round. We started late. It doesn't mean you guys get this started. I don't know what I'm accepting. Okay, 6,000 CNC, we'll take it.
I put this offering?
You want to put it off?
No, did I put,
I thought these were Mr. Mueller's cases, but they're yours. So why don't you have a seat for you? Have a seat.
Accept?
Don't go too far. Okay, we'll call 1117 back. Canto Euro Caribbean Cuisine Corp.
Good morning, Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Hall, Commissioner Boyd, Riano, Secretary Donahue. I'm the representative on Contour Euro Caribbean Cuisine Corp., DBA Seawalk Restaurant, 261, 267 Dykeman Street in Washington Heights, or Inwood, really. I'm here with the owner, Gregorio Gonzalez. We're here for a change in class and an alteration application.
What are we doing first, Tom?
No, there are two.
We're doing the change in method of operation first?
I'm sorry. So it's 1118 and 1117. Sorry, the two numbers.
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, it's a privilege to be before you on the present application for Contour Euro, which I'll just call Seawalk Restaurant to make it shorter. We're presently a restaurant wine license requesting an upgrade to full liquor on premise. The present application is supported by the local congressman, Congressmember Adriano Espaillat.
Great.
Are you all in opposition, or? I can't hear you.
Chairman, did you want to do the method of operation?
Yeah, that's fine. But you're in support of this? Okay, go ahead.
The present application is supported by Congressmember Adriano Espaillat, Councilmember Idanis Rodriguez, Senator Marisol Alcantara, and every elected official in the district. Congressmember Espaillat particularly had his concerns, and he had a moratorium in Inwood and Washington Heights, and he's been the most vocal against more on-premise licenses, particularly on Dykeman Street. And he's in support of this application because of the applicant before you and his operation. Councilmember Espaillat used to sneak in, and when you knew he was there, that's when you knew he was there. He went and checked the location, the food, the method of operation, and particularly the representations made by the applicant, and they were all satisfactory to his satisfaction. The applicant also has met with the 34th Precinct, received no complaints or concerns regarding patron safety, noise, or quality of life in the area and in the district. The applicant has worked and partnered with local agencies, the Manhattan Business Improvement District, and other community agencies to offer what he promised: cooking classes, community events, and events supporting local causes in the area, particularly children's baseball leagues and the Marinas Boating Initiative. The applicant has offered an exquisite seafood selection for all neighborhood and patrons and clientele. Everything the applicant has promised, he has delivered. We have some present members in the audience in support of the application, if you'd like to hear from them. This council member was scheduled to be here, but due to conflicts in calendar, he could not be present. The applicant has also met with Community Board 12 in a 24-7 vote, or an overwhelming majority in support of the Sidewalk Cafe, the present alteration application, and the change in class to full liquor. There are some issues with the stipulations drafted by Community Board 12, and I know that they sent yesterday the changes to the stipulation to Commissioner Held. I just wanted to highlight some of them, particularly with reference to the Sidewalk Cafe. The Sidewalk Cafe was approved by Community Board 12, the true voice of the community, and some letters were sent by some 3 or 4 objectors to the Sidewalk Cafe and its operation, and they're wrong. They were approved as the Community Board stipulation has self-corrected itself and been forwarded to you.
Because I have a March 17th community board that says no sidewalk cafe. And what's that say?
And I sent you something yesterday as well.
For a second.
Actually, I may have it here.
Error regarding the sidewalk cafe stipulation. Instead of restricting a sidewalk cafe operation, the resolution should have stated that there is no restriction regarding sidewalk cafe operation and extending liquor license to.
In addition to that error, they notified Justice DeLuglio that was the case, and in his 500-foot hearing...
That's funny that because I read the ALJ's opinion, and he obviously had some issues with this. And a lot of the issues he had was your failure to respond to him.
I didn't. I was waiting for the community board, and as you can see, we received their correction, their auto-correction, because they have a protocol to follow.
He asked you to file a memo of a public interest statement. In fact, he directed you to, and you never did.
I refused to file the memo until I had the information from the community board.
That was about one issue. You were asking for a method of operation change on a number of different issues,
Correct.
which the community board had already weighed in on.
Correct.
So you couldn't file that and say, I'll wait and get back to you on the last one?
Well, I thought it was specific. No, when it was my understanding with Justice DeLuglio that it was regarding the sidewalk
He asked you to do it,
cafe.
you didn't do it.
It was regarding the sidewalk cafe, and until I had that information from the community board, which I showed him, and he still wanted me to go back to the community board, I didn't feel qualified to say.
Did you read his opinion?
I never get them. I don't know why.
Well, that's not what his opinion says, that it's just about the sidewalk cafe. That doesn't help your client, and it doesn't make me think well of him either. The fact that you were directed to do something by the ALJ at the 500-foot hearing, which I rely on significantly, and you presented nothing.
I presented to him the stipulations for Community Board 12, and I showed them that they were incorrect, and he still asked for it, so he said, let me go back to the Community Board, and that was during the hearing. I don't know about these other stuff, because I try to get information, but when I get it here at the hearing. That's when I get the reports. We never get the reports from Justice DeLuglio in a timely fashion.
Ms. Taveras, you know what he asked you to do, and you didn't do it.
I
we just leave it there
Sure.
for the future?
Correct. It will not happen again, Chairman Bradley.
Ms. Taveras, in the future, you can ask for the copy of the report.
I've asked for copies of reports of several things, and I haven't gotten. Particularly this is when I got it yesterday at 4:35 p.m., and I forwarded it to the office.
Why does a restaurant that's supposed to be a nice family restaurant need a DJ and live music until 2 a.m. at night?
Well, I sent in the applicant's public interest statement for your review and consideration, and I also have the applicant here to explain that. Again, this is the Dyckman Strip. This is what our clientele is asking.
Which we get more complaints about, except for the East Village and the Lower East Side.
You don't get complaints from
But we
Sea
get
Walk
more
Restaurant.
complaints about the number of bars that are on that strip with DJs and the number of people milling around because of just the ambient noise. So don't tell me that that's the way business is done on the Dyckman Strip, because many of the people that live there don't like it.
The issue is the people who are objecting to this, and you heard from the community board, they are the true voice of the community. There's 3 women that we have begged to meet with so that we could deal with some of the issues. I don't think that that was the intent of the legislature, that we beg 3 women to meet with us who continuously object to every single license on Dyckman. We're never gonna have a license if that's the case, and every Latino business is gonna be gone, because this is their agenda. And I don't think that's the intent of the legislature, Chairman Bradley. Really. We begging her on the phone until Memorial Day weekend when they wanted to meet.
You have been in this room since I've been here for 3 years. You're
Yes.
generally in here at least once a month.
Correct.
Every person that comes in here, regardless of the background, that wants a DJ in a family restaurant, I ask the same question to.
You do.
So don't sit there and tell me that there's a racial component to this or anything like that. These bars that are causing problems turn into clubs at night. I'm not saying your client's going to, but that's what the general consensus is when we start doing these things and give extended hours.
Well, we've put this restaurant through enough, I think. We came in here for a full liquor a year and a half ago, and you threw us back to wine and beer. You said, show us what you're operating as, and we did. We have no noise complaints. We have no issues with the police department. No after hours, no operation outside of our method of operation.
You haven't answered my question. Why doesn't he need a DJ and be open till 2
That's
o'clock?
what the clientele is asking. If you don't want to give us to open until 2 a.m., at least give it to us on the weekends, but that's what the clientele is asking for. I sent you pictures of the Sidewalk Cafe and the restaurant empty. Nobody goes in there because they can't get liquor and they can't get what they're asking for, control over their music. We have not had a sound complaint. He spent $50,000 in soundproofing. We're not bothering anybody. Our licenses, when they're granted, are ours to lose. We have a really hard, and he's watching right now.
Not the only one who sent pictures.
Correct. Community board,
Can you come and take a look at this?
sure. The 34th precinct, they are very vigilant.
Mr. Veras, could you stop and take it back to the mic?
That's his patio, right?
Yes.
And that appears to be a wine glass. Somebody's drinking wine on the patio when it's not licensed?
This was, I put it in his application.
You'd know.
I did.
No, someone else sent it to me.
No. I put it in his public interest statement, and I explained to him, and I'll have him explain that one, because I'm not there every day, and I don't want to make representations of things that I'm not privy to.
I think the question is, was he serving alcohol on the deck, or wasn't he?
It happened one time when he was on vacation with the manager.
Somebody
present.
happened to be there with a camera.
They're always there. It's craziness. It's always there. And he can't operate his Sidewalk Cafe because DCA gave him a Sidewalk Cafe in November.
He's welcome to serve all the food he wants out there. That doesn't mean you can serve alcohol out there.
The minute this happened, even Sidewalk Cafe service stopped. We don't even stick people outside because we don't want this to happen. He has followed every single mandate the Liquor Authority has asked him for.
Do you have any questions?
I don't understand why you need a DJ either, to be honest about it.
If the DJ is such a contentious point, we can revisit it on another application. I don't want him to lose his opportunity here because of a DJ. It is what our Mama Juana has it, Mama Sushi has it, everybody on the Dyckman Strip has it. Even Bagatelle has it downtown. So why does Bagatelle have it and we can't have it? Because they have more resources and the police don't come down on them as much as they do on Dyckman? Chairman Bradley, I'm asking for everything that everybody else is permitted to have.
You're comparing apples to oranges. I just told you that there is a strip there on Dyckman that we get significant complaints about. Adding another DJ to it and adding another, that's why he got the restaurant wine last time, because there's problems there. It has nothing to do with what goes on downtown. They're completely different neighborhoods.
Can we remove the DJ?
Why don't you focus on what he's doing and why, and stop trying to compare him to licensees that are 7 miles away from him?
The applicant would like to address the members of the authority, if you please.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Chairman Bradley, comisionado y miembro de Liquor Authority. Yo soy Gregorio González, el propietario de Contour Caribbean Cuisine, DBA Seawalk Restaurant.
Translate.
Okay.
Good morning. I am Gregorio Gonzalez, the owner of Canto Euro Caribbean Cuisine DBA's Sidewalk Restaurant.
Okay, estamos aquí pidiéndole técnicamente los servicios. Tenemos un año operando en este lugar y la comunidad nos está pidiendo todos estos servicios que nosotros no tenemos, que nos están afectando para continuar en este restaurante.
We're here technically asking for the services. We've been operating for 1 year, and we're asking for the services that the community is requesting for us to continue operating in this location.
Por eso le estamos pidiendo que la música y de
I don't need him to repeat everything you've just told me.
Okay.
You wanted to hear from the applicant and
Do you have any questions? Other than that? Okay.
one more statement regarding
Go ahead.
Como ya Aurelia ha dicho todos los problemas y lo que estamos exigiendo, yo personalmente pido delante de aquí, de los jueces, excusa o perdón por un error que cometimos, por una falta de comunicación operando este lugar. Nosotros garantizamos que nosotros hemos hecho lo que hemos prometido en este local. Y si les repito, si cometimos algún error, nosotros pedimos excusa y aquí están todos los miembros que trabajan con nosotros y por eso les invité para que ellos entiendan la responsabilidad que cada uno de nosotros tenemos aquí operando este negocio.
As Aurelia already explained, we're asking what we're going to do, and if at some point we made some mistakes or we had any issues, we're apologize for that. And as you can see, I brought in all the members of my business so that I can understand that what we are asking for and the importance of it, and we once again apologize for whatever mistake we have done before.
All you folks over here are here in support. Yeah. Could I ask you just all to come over here and put your name on the record, please?
Hi, my name is Jeffrey Garcia. I'm a retired first-grade detective with the NYPD. I've known Gregory for over 20 years, his family, and I support this location. I've been helping him throughout the process, and will continue to do so. And whatever conclusions you guys come up with, I will assist him in implementing them.
Thank you.
You all work for him?
Yes.
We don't need to hear from them. Oh. No, we do not need to hear from them. Thank you.
All right.
I'm not work for him.
Okay, you can talk.
I'm Miriam Núñez, and I'm his family.
Close enough.
Ms. Nunez, take your position in the wall. Thank you.
I technically don't work for him either.
Are you family?
No,
Are you his wife?
No.
Are you related? Okay.
No, we're not related. I've known Gregory for about 5 years.
Could you say your name, please?
My name is Irene Justiniani. I've been working in the restaurant business for a huge portion of my life. I work for many great restaurateurs in New York City, like Bobby Flay and Eric Ripert. I consulted for this restaurant in the very beginning. I was supposed to work for him full-time. As a result of the loss of business, I found myself with only a part-time job about a year ago, and I had to find a job somewhere else. And everything, like he said before, everything he promised to do for the community, he did. He's a great guy, and the restaurant is a family restaurant. We have a great chef. We have a great concept that I think that it's making a big impact in the community. It's not a bar. It's not a hookah lounge. It's a family restaurant.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else?
No.
And I wanted to just add
No, we're
one
gonna
thing.
vote.
Oh,
We're gonna vote.
okay.
Which do you want to act on first?
17.
What is that one?
That is the change in method of operation.
Let me just grab a pen.
17. I thought we were doing the other one first. I am not going to approve adding a DJ. Or live music at this point. I am willing to give you till 2 a.m. From Thursday through Saturday, though.
And the outdoor?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the outdoor either. I mean, everyone else on Dyckman Street is. So, that's my decision. See where he stands.
No, I'll agree with him. So no DJ, no live music, 2 a.m. Thursday through Saturday, and the outdoor is okay.
And the other days of the week, Chairman Bradley?
The hours that you're closing now, which is 12, right? Jackie?
Yeah.
One. No, te está cambiando de jueves a sábado hasta las 2.
Yeah, so midnight, Sunday to Wednesday, 2 a.m., Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
A las 2, jueves, viernes a las 2.
You move on to
¿Cómo está? A las 2.
class change?
Yep. As far as the class change goes, I mean, you've got the support of all your local officials. You've got the support of the community board. I don't have a problem with that either. You have a pretty clean record since you opened, so I don't have a problem with that either. I would vote to approve that.
At some point in this application, you talk about having 25 security guards, and then,
That's the mistake of the stipulation. It's very messy.
so how many well, that's not the only messy thing in this. How many security guards are there?
There's, we have cameras and we have security guards only on the weekends if necessary.
How many, though?
One for every 70 people. So just to usher.
I'm going to approve,
Subject to the other conditions you just
yes, but require that there's 2 security guards Thursday through Saturday,
Dos seguridad,
no matter how many people. And anything over 70 is going to require additional security.
Say that again, Chairman Bradley?
2 security guards Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, mandatory.
Then once you hit 70, you start adding one for every 70.
Two security.
And the hours are what we already decided.
Okay. Thank you, members of the authority.
But wait, hold on.
Oh, sorry.
He already voted.
Yes.
On this one? With those conditions that the chairman, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yo pues, sabe, security guard, jueves, sábado.
All right, you're set.
Thank
All
you.
right,
Yay!
we're going to move to Buffalo now. First item there is 1020 East Ferry Food and Deli, Inc.
Good morning, Chairman Bradley, Attorney Tito Delsa for Sheriana Lee, owner of East Ferry Food and Deli, Inc.
So this guy he bought this business, he availed the license for 3 months. We took it away, now he's been without a license for a year. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you're asking for us to reconsider the licensing board's disapproval of his application for a license?
That's correct, Chairman.
All right, he's been without a license for a year. I'll send it back to licensing. I'm granting the reconsideration.
Ditto.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next item in Buffalo is 1014 P&H Petroleum Corp. Is somebody there on that? All right, hold on.
Next item, Secretary, is agenda number 01114.
Gosh, it's 1114, not 1014. My fault.
Caleb LLC, Section Medical.
Yes.
Hit the board windows for comment.
Yes, I will. Thank you very much.
Counselor, you're moving forward without the interpreter, right?
Yes, I am. My client does speak English. I think it would have been more comfortable with an interpreter, but he's paying rent on a new location. He's interested in trying to expedite this process as quickly as he can. So that he's indicated, and he does understand the process. Yes.
Why is he moving?
He's moving because he's been successful, gentlemen. He's got a new location with more space, just a couple blocks away, about twice the size, and that's why he's moving.
He's actually moving west, further from the closest store. Is that correct?
Yes, that is. It's a couple blocks west on Main Street.
All right, I'm good with this.
Yeah, I'll approve.
The four closest stores remain the same, I believe, and while he is getting a bigger store, he's really not going to affect this demand or the supply of alcohol in a significant way. So I think there is a public convenience to allowing him to get a bigger store.
Well, thank you very much for your consideration and your time.
You're welcome.
Michelle, I have nothing else in Buffalo?
No, there's no other items in Buffalo.
Okay, we're going to move to Albany. Next item, 1113, GKSA Partners, LLC.
Good morning. My name is
Hold
Karen
on 1 second. Say that number again.
It's 1113.
I got it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Karen Greco from Glenn Kibista and Associates. I'm here today representing GKSA Partners, LLC. They have a pending application for a liquor store located at 220 Harborside Drive in Schenectady. Last week, we forwarded some information to the authority in support of this application, as well as a statement from our clients indicating that they were unable to attend and that they are searching for a manager for this location.
Is there any opposition there?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, before you hear from, go ahead, opposition.
Hi, good morning. My name is Michael Simone. I own Phil Engelbart's Liquor Mart located on 511 Union Street, which is about 0.6 of a mile from GSKI. So basically, I just wanted to kind of point out that the market is pretty much saturated with wine and liquor stores at this time, and we currently have 23 wine and liquor stores within a 5-mile radius of my store. And we also have many stores surrounding this store here that certainly offers the consumer at this time full variety of all products. And I just don't see that there's another need in the market for another liquor store. And also I'd like to point out that Erie Wine and Liquor was picked up their license back in March of 2016, and I think they were open for a year and they closed, and that store was 0.3 of a mile from my store. So basically, I just wanted to point out that the market is saturated with wine and liquor stores at this time. Myself, along with the other liquor stores surrounding this location, feels that there's no need at this time, and that's it, really. Thank you.
Thank you.
Which store was yours again? Goose Hill?
Phil Engelbart's Liquor Mart located at 511 Union Street. It's been there since 1946.
Oh, all right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jackie, where was the one that shut?
One shot, I think it's talking about
Erie and Lucy.
Erie Boulevard?
Wine and Liquor.
The Erie Wine and Liquor, that was on Erie Boulevard, another district.
Go ahead.
1321, you said?
Go ahead.
Oh, that was I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. If I'm able
Well,
to do
you
so.
heard the opposition state that the area is saturated with liquor stores. The sales would indicate that he's correct. So what are you bringing that they don't provide already?
The location of the liquor stores within the new casino area, there are, if I could just refer to my notes, please. So there's been a 60-acre development happening with the Rivers Casino and Resort. There, in addition to the resort, there's apartments, condos, townhouses, as well as a couple of hotels bringing more tourism in. There is a biking, hiking trail. The marina has just recently reopened, as well as kayaks. So it's also become a destination place for a lot of travelers. The buildings that are there, in addition to office and retail as well, I think equate to about 100,000 square feet of business. So there is an influx, even though in the past sales may have been down in the area, that the area has grown dramatically in the past 2 years as a result of this new development.
But they're all transient because the population numbers show a decline.
That's true, but between the apartment, condo, and the townhouses, there's approximately 300 new residential units right in that immediate area on this property.
And where are your clients?
They have full-time jobs down in New Jersey and weren't able to attend today.
So who's going to manage this place?
They have been, if you look at their statement, they have been diligently looking for a manager, a full-time manager for during the week. It is in their intent to come up on weekends, alternating weekends, but they have been diligently looking for a manager for during the weekdays, and they have been unable to find one up until this time.
And where do they live?
In New Jersey.
So where they're going to come up on weekends and what, stay at the casino?
Possibly, or an apartment or a motel. They did not share that information with me where they were going to stay.
Mr. Patel owned a store in Catskill?
Yes.
What happened with that?
That I do not know.
He was removed, right? Yeah.
He just sold it. So you don't know why he sold it?
No, I do not.
Do you know if his family owns liquor stores in the area?
Not that I know of, no.
All right.
All right.
Are you sure of that?
That they don't own
Yes.
liquor stores?
Yes.
I am I'm pretty confident that yes. I know that the Patels are a large family. I know that our office represents quite a number of them.
But he's not related to them.
As far as I know, no.
Okay.
So they're in New Jersey, but they couldn't come here to New York for a hearing?
Correct. Their jobs did not permit them today.
When I first looked at this on Google Earth, it didn't show anything. Shows kind of a barren area. So yesterday morning on my way down here, I drove through there just to get a better idea of it. And
you didn't go to the casino, did you?
I didn't go into the casino. I went right up to it and drove by it, and I took a look at all the condos that are there and the Courtyard Marriott and all the construction. And it's without a doubt a whole new little sub-city being built there, ready for people to move in. Hopefully they will. I do think that there's a public convenience and advantage to be met by having a store there. I don't know that it needs to be, 3,000 square feet, though, close to that.
I think 1,800 of it is going to be retail.
Oh, is that correct? It says approximately 28,
20,
25.
23 retail, 500 storage.
Oh. We're going to take 2 minutes.
All right.
You may.
We're going to have to put this over.
Sorry, so
Oh,
we're back,
sorry.
all right, we're back on the record after a conference with council. We're back on item 1113.
We're going to have to put this over to have your clients appear. There's some questions we have regarding the former liquor store that Mr. Patel's former ownership of the liquor store in Catskill, and there seems to be some promissory notes involved with his partner in this liquor store. Are you aware of that?
Not immediately knowledgeable, no.
Well, you might want to become aware of it and bring them here. We're going to put it over for 2 weeks, and they need to come either there or here.
Okay.
And the opposition does not need to come back. You're welcome to, but you don't need to.
Okay, thank you.
So it's held over to June 13th.
Okay, thank you.
Next item in Albany, 1021, DG Wine and Spirits LLC.
So anyways,
Good morning. I'm Deborah Galasso. For DG Wine and Spirits.
Is there any opposition there?
Yes, there is.
Can we hear from them, please?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Adam Rowe. I'm an attorney with the law firm Myers & Myers, representing Value Village Wine and Liquor. My clients, Randy and Candace Wood, are with me.
Go ahead.
We oppose this application for three main reasons. One, because the public itself specifically doesn't want it. Two, because of the proximity would have severe financial detrimental effect on my client's store, which is in fact a burgeoning business, only open for less than 2 years. And three, based upon precedent established by this board back in 2015 when it denied a similar application to the Apple Barrel LLC in Schoharie. As far as the public having spoken, it has spoken directly through a petition with over 300 signatures with addresses, letters to the editor and local newspapers. I believe at least one small business has submitted a letter directly to the board. The two levels of government within Middleburg itself have unanimously voiced their disapproval of a new liquor store going into the village and town of Middleburg. And you have at least the village's both minutes from a regular meeting as well as a letter from the mayor. And also the town board members have also spoken on the record in public local newspapers expressing their disfavor of this application. As far as proximity, it's less than a mile away. It's almost double the size of what my client's store would be. It's in a new shopping mall with a long-awaited grocery store, so obviously it will be provided a great deal of foot traffic just based upon that advantageous position. My clients have only been open, as I said, for less than 2 years. They have, at this point, eked out a modest profit. They are providing a demand, they're fulfilling a demand, and they are meeting it equally. They are not exceeding that demand, and as a result, any business that comes in would obviously siphon off business to their detriment. In fact, would probably cause them to close. There's a small community in Middleburg, about 3,500 people, but really only about 70% of the people are of even drinking age. So if you remove that 30%, you got about a 2,500 to 1 ratio between people in the store. You add another store, that's down to 1,250 to 1. That's an extremely low ratio based upon precedent before the board. And finally, just to recap, in 2015, the board denied a liquor store license to the Apple Barrel LLC, serial number 2200153, which is 7 miles from my client's store in Schoharie. So based upon those three main points, we definitely oppose this application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions for my clients?
No.
Okay, thank you.
There's more opposition, Chairman.
Okay.
Eric Goodrich, Schoharie Valley Wine and Liquor. Not much I can really add to that other than we don't really have the sales in these small towns, so I'm not going to waste too much of the board's time. If you guys have any questions,
nope.
Answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I
never received copies of any of the petitions. I've never been notified.
Can you put your
by
name on the record and tell us where you're from?
Deborah Galasso of BG Wine and Spirits, LLC.
Okay.
I have never received any petitions, copies. I have never received any information from their village or town boards.
Well, we did.
You didn't know about any of that?
I mean, I don't know that they, I think, must have been responding to your notice. But they are adamantly against it. Can you tell us why Middleburg needs another liquor store?
I saw an opportunity when the new development went up with the grocery store. There's a pharmacy that just reopened, a laundromat, and now a barbecue restaurant is opening, as well as a fireplace, stove, hearth business moved from across the street into the same plaza. With the new grocery store and the foot traffic that it entails, it's a good place to put a liquor store.
And you're telling me you didn't see any of the letters to the editor in the newspaper that were against you?
I don't subscribe to the Times Journal.
Do you live in Middleburg?
I live in Summit. I live in Schoharie County. I live in Summit, New York.
Because there's about 4 or 5 long letters to the editor. I'm surprised that someone wouldn't have mentioned that to you.
I never
But it doesn't really matter.
read the paper.
I'm ready to vote, Chairman, if you are. I'm going to vote to deny. I mean, the village is against it. And it is such a small community. I'm not saying that the location that you picked and everything probably isn't a good spot from your perspective, but I just don't see the need for it, and I'm going to go along with the opposition for it as well.
I'm going to deny on the same grounds and also add that we did also deny an application in 2015, which was in the same general area and would be one of the 4 closest stores. So we are being consistent in that regard.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
The next item is 1009, Cavalarios Cucina Ltd.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the authority. I am Graham Spicer here. I am the attorney for Cavalarios Cucina. I have Mr. Peter Cavalario here with me today.
Can you try to explain to us what occurred here?
Well, obviously, the board is aware of our no contest plea, Your Honor. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. It's a difficult thing to explain, for sure. The initial application was made in the 2002-2003 timeframe when Cavalarios was moving from the Eastern Boulevard location to the Massey Street location. At that time, Mr. Cavalario used a local woman to help complete the application. There was the entrance to the building, there was a gift shop that was there before, and which was, the entrance to that building had to be changed, I believe, subsequent to the application. The entrance had to be changed due to for the accommodation of wheelchair, making it wheelchair accessible. And I think that was what brought it within the 200 feet from the original port to the port of the church next door.
Have you been to it?
Yes, I have.
You can walk around this entire church and it's within 200 feet.
Sir, I did.
This was a blatant misrepresentation. There's a clear question on the application that says if you have a thought that this is within 300 feet, you're supposed to be checking that box so somebody can go check it. I've seen pictures of how close this is. It's a joke.
Mr. Chairman, we understand. And that's why we've accepted responsibility for that. I would note, and I included in the materials I submitted to the board, the church was not the initiator of this complaint. In fact, the church has had a long, good-standing relationship.
It doesn't matter. There's very few laws in this section of law that I don't have any discretion over. This is one of them.
I understand that.
If it's within 199 feet and 6 inches, we can't put a liquor license there. And that's why we rely on these applications and the applicants to be honest when they're filing the applications. The fact that you're going to sit here and tell me that it was because of the door they were using when I've seen pictures of this place is just not accurate.
Sir, the door, the entrance to the original structure was entirely on a different side of the building.
It doesn't matter. We sent an investigator out. The furthest that this church is from this restaurant is 110 feet, no matter how you measure it.
I understand that, Mr. Chairman, but the door, look, as I said before, there was some sort of misunderstanding that occurred at that time.
Well, so tell me why I shouldn't close them.
Well, there's an exemption that's since been granted by the governor. First of all,
first of all, it's not an exemption. It means that somebody else could easily open a license there, but he violated the law, and in my estimation, it was intentional. So I can take the license. So tell me why he should remain open.
Mr. Chairman, this is a restaurant, a family restaurant that's been in business in some capacity since 1996. There is, other than the issue before the board presently, they have a completely spotless record. They've enjoyed a good relationship with this neighboring church. It is a restaurant that is a family-owned fine dining restaurant. It is not a restaurant that's invited or encouraged any sort of late-night drinking. It is not a bar air. It is not a drinking crowd. It is frequently closed down by 9 p.m., even on weekends. It has been Mr. Cavallerio's restaurant and his wife's restaurant, like I said, for the better part of 20 years, Mr. Chairman. He has a spotless record. He himself, Mr. Cavalerio, has no previous convictions. I don't believe, to my knowledge, there's been any other citations or incidents as far as fights, drinking, noise complaints, what have you. In that respect, Mr. Chairman, I would request that you not take that action of closing down this business.
Well, that's the normal course in these cases.
And just for clarity, counsel, they do not have a spotless record. There is a CNC for a renewal issue in 2009.
Okay. All right, what do you...
So, since the governor signed a carve-out for you?
Yes.
And so the issue here is whether we're going to reduce your...
No, it's fine. We're closed.
Yeah.
And can I just say one thing?
Yes.
Hi, Peter Cavalerio, owner of Cavallerio's Cucina. With the liquor license, again, 20 some pretty close to 20 years ago, I had someone fill out that application for me, and I do apologize for that oversight again. But again, part of the restaurant that we're operating there, I would, as you're looking at the fine, as I'm listening to the fine and some of these numbers that are being thrown out, I would say less than 10% of my business is liquor related. It is a wine restaurant. We have a fine food, and we do a lot of wine. So we don't really do a lot in the liquor. So the fine, if I'm going to be penalized, gentlemen, it has to be kind of go with the sales of liquor, and it's very small in this location.
You see,
I don't... Sir, I'm just going to say something very quickly.
Okay, you do it.
I don't think you're listening. Normally, we would take your license.
I understand that.
And so you wouldn't have to worry about the sales of liquor or wine. You lied for almost over a decade, based on what I see here.
No, it's like 15 years.
15 years. So I just want to be exceedingly clear that the fact that we're even discussing a fine is pretty extraordinary.
Really? Okay.
Okay.
I'm not going to vote to close you, but I am going to stick with a pretty severe penalty in order for us to remain consistent. So I'm going to keep it at $20,000.
I would go to 10, given the location and the history, other than this rather large screw-up. I'll give them 10,000.
10 is fine.
Mr. Chairman, I would note that an offer was previously communicated by counsel's office of $7,500.
And it would have been 10 anyway. Those have to be approved by us, and we just told you what it was. It probably would have been helpful if you had accepted that, though. But that's gone. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
All right, the next item in Albany, 1031, American Craft Brewery, LLC.
What is it? Oh, 1031.
1031.
Good morning, Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Greeley, Council Riano. I'm here on behalf of American Craft Brewery with respect to the CNC that was offered up by American Craft Brewery for the brand label violation.
And Council Yogi, I just want to note for the record that obviously I appreciate all the work that you and my office, and myself directly have put into trying to come up to a resolution for this matter. And I have reviewed, obviously, your submissions regarding fixing of the process, and I definitely look forward to working with you. But I see significant changes that have been put into place, and I look forward to furthering those discussions as necessary. But I just wanted to say thank you to you and your client for the last few weeks of making this come together.
Thank you. I appreciate all of your help, as well as Council Bill Brennan. The SLA has been tremendous in really working this through very quickly, so we appreciate everybody's time.
So now that the Love Fest is over, I haven't seen a compliance failure of this magnitude since I've been here. Can you explain to me how this happened? And to the extent that it happened, after we actually notified the company that it was happening.
So Boston Beer was undergoing a bit of a transition in 2016. The general counsel at Boston Beer had retired. The senior counsel was moving into the general counsel role. They had temporary workers in place handling all of their brand label registrations, among other regulatory matters for them, while they got a new team in place. At that same time, the brewery opened. They opened Angry Orchard Cidery. They had decided to discontinue using DiCrescente as their exclusive brand agent, and decided to brand label all of their products under either the brewery or the cidery. Unfortunately, the products that had been labeled by DiCrescente, for whatever reason, all just a circumstance of a multitude of different things happening at one time, those labels fell through the cracks.
Into the millions of cases? I mean, we're talking about almost 6 million cases.
I agree, and Boston Beer agrees that this
there was no audit procedures or anything in place to ensure that this wasn't happening?
There was not at the time, because Boston Beer did not brand label its products up until that point in time. The products were always brand labeled by DiCrescente. It was only when the brewery and the cidery opened that they decided to start doing it themselves. And all of the new products that they were introducing at that time were, in fact, brand labeled under the brewery or the cidery. It was those products that had been previously registered by DiCrescente that fell through the cracks.
And then we, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think our brand label department notified the company that this was occurring, and we got no response, and then it just continued?
My understanding from...
Is that correct, or am I wrong in that?
No, we did speak with them.
Yeah.
And it continued after that? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
My understanding from General Counsel Tara Heath was that when they were in the process of brand labeling some of their new products that they would be introducing into the market under the cidery or the brewery, at that point the brand label unit did reach out to them to question why they were brand labeling these products and what was going to happen with the other products that were labeled under DiCrescente. Admittedly, Tara was consumed with other issues at that moment in time. She overlooked what the brand label unit had pointed out to her. When those labels then came up for renewal in June, she had really forgotten what the brand label unit had reached out to her about in March.
Well, that's expensive.
I agree.
And now there is a compliance
Yes.
procedure in place?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
They have an entire team in place now. They have a procedure in place where all members of the team are notified 90 days and 30 days, again in 30 days, in advance of a renewal. So they have plenty of advance notice that a renewal is coming up and they need to file the paperwork.
And this CNC is only 10 charges, but it does not reflect anywhere near the number of charges we could have on this. So this,
No, Chairman.
while this is a large penalty, the prospective penalty could be 10 times that amount?
100 times this amount.
Okay. I'll accept $975,000.
As negotiated with counsel, I will accept as well.
Thank you.
I love New York, yes.
Della, I have nothing left in Albany, is that correct?
There's nothing more in Albany.
Okay, we'll go back to New York. Mr. Buscemi, you're up. 1051 M&M Wine Spirits, Inc. You get to follow that.
Yes.
That's what he's talking about.
Okay.
So when he says, the list, when we put the application in, it's very long.
Yes.
Because of the,
Partnership.
Okay, Mr. Diano, I think we're back on the record.
a lot of beer and wine places.
Okay.
So let me just backing. I'm Kevin Dano. We're here. Okay. The question you asked was about how many licenses that she had an interest in, and she's part of a family that owned family-owned businesses in Texas.
Don't touch anything.
They'll edit it later.
We're good, Donna? All right. Okay, we are going back on the record. And the next item is 1063. This is a proposed advisory regarding combination packages.
Kevin Dano for Empire Merchants.
Nicholas Bergman with Buckman Law for Southern Glazers.
Go ahead.
I'm here to oppose the change in the advisory. We feel strongly that this is inconsistent with Section 101B, which has been set up specifically to say that you should have one price for each item, and each item should be separately priced and posted. The Liquor Authority has in the past made an exception for, first they made an exception for supplier-made combination packages, and that were pre-wrapped and came in as an item, and that was consistent with the statute because it created an item. And then the Liquor Authority expanded it a little bit by saying, we don't want to make it too difficult. If the distributor can put it together and make one case for the retailers, we'll allow them to make one case. If they make one case, they have to offer it to any retailer that wants it, and make a case if any retailer doesn't want, if there isn't a case available already. And that is still consistent with the statute because it was only intended to allow the introduction of a new product into the retailers and get them an opportunity to try different products that they would not otherwise have an opportunity to try unless they had what is essentially a larger discount than they normally get without a quantity discount. And it was important that it was only one case because you could never have quantity discounts when you have one case, because one case is the minimum that can be a quantity discount, the minimum quantity. But now what they're talking about here is expanding it to 3 cases. And I'm sorry, the third thing that you did, and I say over my objections, was to allow loose bottle cases, which I argued would not be consistent with the statute because it didn't create an item. But you, Mr. Chairman, felt that that was a technical difference but didn't have a practical difference. And now, if you expand this to 3 cases, that technical difference becomes a very practical difference because now you have loose bottles floating around in cases. You have 3 cases, and what you're really doing is you're moving from an exception to allow for an introductory product to have a way to get into places and have small retailers be able to try a product. You're moving into something which is essentially family plan discounting, which is specifically what Section 101B was invented or...
Well, do you think going from 1 to 3 cases is moving to family plan?
It absolutely is. Absolutely. I mean, this is not, 1 to 3 is not a small thing. It changes everything, and it changes everything for a couple of reasons. One is because the way you have everything set up now, the discounts that you're allowed to do on a family pack is you have to take the lowest price you can get on each item in that and multiply it by the number of items in the box, right? But now, when you move from 1 to 3, you no longer are dealing with the lowest price against the lowest price. The lowest price against the quantity discount price. Now what you're talking about is I might have on some of those items, I might have a 1-case discount, I might have a 2-case discount, I might have a 3-case discount. It throws off the entire system, both the issue of whether or not you're pricing in a way that is forcing people to buy a product that they don't want. And you're also, you're throwing away the idea that I'm really dealing still with the statute 101B, which is stating that you're really supposed to have each item separately priced and separately available. And when you get to when you get past 1,
well, under that argument, 1 is a problem too.
One is a problem too.
It's good for you guys because you get your introductory offers out there to the retailers, but at the bottom line, if you're going to sit there and say 3 is a problem under the statute, then 1 is a problem under the statute.
1 was a problem under the statute. 1 is a problem under the statute. There's no question about it.
But it hasn't caused a problem.
Because when you introduce, well, you weren't here when actually. But
I was probably in high school.
but I was, there was a balance that the Liquor Authority made, and that balance that they made was that there would be a way to introduce a single product, or new products into a retailer, but the statute 101B says yes, you can move from here, provided that what you're doing is not inconsistent with the intent of the statute. And after a long debate and argument with the entire industry, the Liquor Authority decided that if it was limited to 1 case, it would not be inconsistent because of the reasons that I just set out. Because because the statute is set up for a number of reasons. One is that if I have a product that I would like to get into your store, and I have another product that you don't want, if I can put them together and say, you want this, you have to take that, right? I can force you to for my example, everybody in the world wants Pappy Van Winkle, right? If I can say to you, you want Pappy Van Winkle, you got to take Dano Crap, right? I'll package them together, and that's how you're going to get it, right? You had to put that on one side, plus the idea that each item should be separately priced. Because when you're dealing with the idea of each item should be separately priced, it's particularly dangerous to New York manufacturers, because you take a big company that has 500,000 or 1,000 products, and you say to them, you can repackage your products any way you want, and I can make deals for you for these products. Whereas if I'm a New York a New York winery or a New York distillery, I got 3 products, maybe 4 products, right? And I'm competing against people that are going to make all these deals where they have an unlimited number of products. And the statute was created in order to avoid just that problem. There's a reason why it says 1 item, 1 price, and that you can't price them together and discount them together. It isn't by accident. It's to protect.
I get that, but I haven't seen that problem develop with 1 case, and I don't agree with you that jacking it to 3 is going to create a problem that hasn't existed.
Well,
now maybe if we said 100 or 25 or whatever, you might be right, but I don't know that. I think 1 was an arbitrary number, and I think 3 is an arbitrary number.
1 is not an arbitrary number. It was a number that was selected with extreme care.
Okay.
Yeah, it was with extreme care because 1 was the number where you can't have the case of the individual product sold with a quantity discount, and 1 would not result in any kind of discrimination. When you go to 2 or 3. It creates a whole bunch of other problems. For one thing, small retailers, can't buy 3 or 4 cases, of these, and they're discounted items. So it throws off that balance between what big retailers can do and what small retailers can do.
Under that theory, then your quantity discount does the same thing.
The quantity discount does do the same thing, but
how is that fair to the small retailer? Similarly, a small restaurant to a big restaurant with your delivery charges.
The difference is that
they're not discriminatory.
No, they are.
Oh.
They are. But there's a very big difference. Actually, there's two differences. The first is a concept that I don't personally agree with. I agree with what you just said, but there are a bunch of federal cases that deal with the issue of whether or not quantity discounts are a state not allowing quantity discounts is somehow a restraint of trade. I don't agree with them. They go back and forth in different directions, but that's one. But the biggest reason is that your legislature, my legislature, when it passed this law, decided that in deciding this balance between discrimination and the arguments that I'm making, they wrote into the statute quantity discounts. And they said, we feel that we're going to allow the discrimination that comes from quantity discounts, but we're not going to allow the discrimination that will come from the idea that different products can be put together and to make a price.
But this board did.
The board did.
Interpreting that statute.
The board did, and quite frankly, it was. I was here. These arguments were made at the time.
I'm sure they were.
And the board came to the conclusion that by limiting it to one case, which could not be divided lower, and that the price, there wouldn't be a balance with where the prices of the goods that are going into that case couldn't be themselves associated with quantity discounts, that by doing that, the risk that that I am talking about, that risk would be limited to a point where it became and was consistent with Section 101B and its intent. When you move from that and you move to the issue of loose bottles, which and then you say, now I can have loose bottles. I can have loose bottles up to 3 cases put out and around, and keep in mind that when you do this, Empire and Southern have the largest suppliers, the largest number of different combinations of bottles that we could do this with. To small retail, to small wholesalers, to small suppliers, this is it's just tremendously anti-competitive for them. It moves you from the place where the retailer is saying to himself
that you're here opposing it and none of them are.
Sometimes I
not only you but also Southern. I find that ironic.
You see me coming here and argue on behalf of the retailers in terms of changing the credit periods when that's not really in Empire's best interest, but in the interest of the retailer. Empire believes that the retailers are their partners, and that whether what's good for the retailer.
You don't have to explain it. I'm just pointing out that that's
all right.
the fact.
Then I appreciate you. I appreciate the irony, but there are a lot of things that I could ask for Empire that would be great for Empire that are not great for the retailer. And in the end, if it's not great for the retailer, it's not great for the industry. And quite frankly, I'm also arguing that it's not great for the small supplier in New York, who and there's no reason for this. By the way, can I ask you a question? Because this is aside.
I guess it depends on what the question is. But.
Well, I want to make sure that I understand the change in the advisory also. Are you suggesting in the advisory that it would be up to the wholesaler whether or not it offered 1, 2, or 3 of these cases? And then if it offered 1, it would only have to give 1. If it offered 2, it would have to give 2. If it offered 3, it would have to give 3.
Yes.
You're not suggesting?
You don't have to offer any.
No. Yeah.
Right?
No.
If you do one, you have to do 1 for everybody. If you do 2, you have to do 2 for everybody.
Okay.
If you do 0, you don't have to do any for anyone.
Okay. So I just want to make sure, and I'd appreciate if you would clarify that if you put this through. Although that notwithstanding, this is going to probably have the opposite effect that it was intended to have. It's not going to, create. I think the only people who want this are some of the retailers, the larger retailers from the upstate market are the ones who are the only ones I know that are asking for this. It's really going to throw off everything that the statute was intended to protect.
Well, we'll see. I mean, right now, we're just asking for comment, right, Chris? Yeah, so we'll see what the comments, we're taking written comment for a period of time. You actually asked us to put it on again in 2 weeks, right?
I didn't
want that or no? Because I'd rather not go through this again.
I don't need it to be on in 2 weeks. No, what happened is this came on the agenda, you pardon me, from my point of view, a little suddenly. And I didn't have a chance. This argument you're hearing right now is a bit ad hoc. I didn't have the ability.
It's very unlike you.
Yeah. Do you have any issue with the number, the times of a month that these items can be sold? Paragraph 17.
I'm sorry. What?
It says no more than how many times a month can be offered to any licensed retailer in any 1 month. Change from 1 to 3.
Yeah, that's his problem. 1 to 3.
Oh, I thought it was in 16 we're talking about.
No. They've changed everything from 1 to 3. And yes, I feel that.
I'm saying within a month. That's what I'm saying. Time frame.
The Section 101B requires us to price post, and we can only sell what has been price posted during that month. So in this case, what the original, the answer is yes, but the original allocation, what they said was, this must be an allocated item. It must be an allocated item. You can't sell more than one to any retailer, and you can, during a month. Right? And we're arguing that should be the rule, and it shouldn't be changed.
No, I got it. All right. But are we voting to approve this today, or are we?
Mr. Chairman,
or are we voting?
My understanding from before was that you wanted to take time.
Okay.
After taking
So
comment.
I got your argument, Nick. Are you going to? Do you have anything to say, add, or?
Chairman, do you want to? We have not, to the best of my knowledge, solicited comments.
No, we're going to.
So you want something put up on the website?
Yes. After this.
No, Mr. Chairman, I won't spend the time to reiterate what Kevin said. We concur.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So this is, I'm just going to vote to publicize this, since you've indicated that you didn't think it was publicized enough, and we'll take public comment until a month from now. Is that enough time?
I will, certainly. A month is certainly enough time.
Put it on for the 27th?
Yes.
Okay.
And then put it on the website and invite public comment up until your closing date on that.
Do you want the comments to go to counsel's office or the secretary's office?
Where do you want them? Secretary's office. No. Secretary's office, and then to me. Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, Commissioner Ford.
Thank you. Next item is 1086, Brandon Lee. You did not pull that item out. It's a default.
What number?
1086.
This is on a default. Now,
Just give him a second.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This is on a default. I did take on the case, and I did send in my not guilty plea and demand for bill of particulars on April 17th. I have a copy of my fax transmission.
All right, back to counsel's office.
All right. Thank you.
Back to counsel.
Next items are 1004 and 1005, Chow Hung, Inc.
For Chow Hung, Marconi and Associates by Louis Chisari. Good afternoon, Commissioners. First one, I believe, is a reconsideration of a cancellation order for failure to pay a fine.
That's 1005.
1004 was to replace a bond and a $500 CNC. I had spoken to Mr. Faring. I've been in contact with Mr. Faring, and he asked me to bring the bond and the money order here with me. The bond was in effect from April 30th after I had spoken to him.
But what? We canceled this license in February. Are you aware of that?
No.
And then you state the cancellation.
You state the cancellation because of the failure to pay.
Okay, so...
On this disorderly premises, so do that one first, because right now there's no license.
So that's $1,005.
All right, we're doing $1,005 first.
Yes, that was for failure to pay the $3,500 fine, which has been paid to council's, to the Secretary's office through Mr. Farring.
All right, I'll accept this reconsideration. So now you're licensed again. And now what do you want to do here?
I do have the bond. I had been in contact with Mr. Farring. He said bring a bond and the check and the $500 check with you to the board. Last time it was on, we then put it over for this reconsideration because they didn't have a license at that moment.
So do you have the check now?
I have the check and the bond with
So
me.
who's taking that? Not me.
No, you're going to mail it to our Secretary's office.
That's fine. I would.
All right, I'll grant the reconsideration.
Impose a $500 fine?
Yep, impose a $500 fine and...
Yeah. Yes. The notice has gone out to the community board at this point.
So we're going to impose a $500 fine, and the bond has to be reinstated before renewal. Right.
All right. Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Next item is 1097 Atlantic Cafe.
Again, for Atlantic Cafe, Marconi and Associates by Louis Cesari. This is a C&C of $1,000.
I'll accept.
All right. Thank you.
Next items are 1055 and 1056. These are two requests for reconsideration, one by the licensee and one by the landlord.
Who's here?
Not aware of one by the licensee. Max Bookman, Pizetsky and Bookman for the landlord, North Star Properties. This was our request for reconsideration of only that portion of your decision on a default disciplinary proceeding to issue a prescription.
Just so that the attorney for the licensee was notified late because this was added to the landlord's request.
Did we get a written recon from him, though?
Yes, and counsel's office gave it to us with a note that it should be included with this matter.
It's odd because we evicted that licensee, so I'm not sure what value there would be to.
Well, I don't. It's not happening anyway. But go ahead.
Right.
Are you the landlord?
This is the representative of the landlord. We're at North Star Properties, Mr. Chairman. The thrust, you have our papers, the thrust of our request that you reconsider the issuance of a prescription is that this landlord is new to the premises. They took over the building after all of the issues that took place in the notice of pleading transpired.
When did they get the building?
On August 4th, 2016.
Well, there's issues in December of 2015 and July of 2016.
That's right. And they
So
took it in
the
August.
July issues are when he owned the building. Oh, August, you said.
Yes, right after. And in fact, when they took over the building, they took issue with this tenant's method of operation. You see in our materials that we submitted that they had been diligently in contact with their tenant who they inherited, asking them to deal with the various noise issues. What we've explained in our papers is that they even consulted with their landlord-tenant council about the prospect of evicting these tenants, and they were advised by that council that they were constrained by the terms of the lease that they didn't write, that they inherited, that they couldn't evict them until there had been some action taken by a regulatory agency. Upon the revocation of the license that you issued, they issued a notice of termination, and as of yesterday...
All right, I'll lift the prescription.
Same here.
Yeah. Thank you very
Held
much.
accountable for that.
I'm not. I realize we got another reconsideration from the licensee. I'm not granting that given the history here, so we can deny that right now, too.
You good with that, Commissioner?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
Next item is 1112 Savory Deli LLC.
Yes, Max Bookman, Pizetsky and Bookman for Savory Deli LLC. To my right is Dhruv Singh. He's the principal of Savory, which has been a corporate catering business for the past 7 years. Mr. Chairman, and Commissioner Ford, this is a refile of an on-premises restaurant application that had been approved once before a few years ago. The approval lapsed because they never picked up the license, and so we simply refiled. I read your referral memo. The question seems to be over whether the premises is bona fide, and I'm not quite sure why that is a question.
Well, it's the reason I had the question was because the kitchen is 3 times the size of the eating area.
Right, so that's certainly a little...
And the eating area does not appear that it would ever need 85 employees.
So if I could just maybe perhaps give some context.
So
to
I
this
think the
business.
concern is, and you can give the context after that, the concern is that this guy just wants to cater.
Right.
And why isn't he just getting a caterer's license?
All right, so Savory has been in business for the past 7 years without any liquor license. And they started off as an online catering business. The premises that we're looking to license for the past 7 years has basically been a big commissary, and that explains the large kitchen. You're seeing a lot of applications these days where people are trying to find all sorts of ways to make a few extra dollars. You're seeing grocery stores that are adding little cafes. You're seeing a lot of unusual applications. And what you're seeing with Savory here is this online business is looking to add an on-premises brick-and-mortar component to their operation. They feel that there's been a desire for their customers to not only necessarily order online, but to actually come and have an on-premises experience. And so what they've done is they've carved out of their commissary a small, granted small, area that will serve as an on-premises restaurant. I recognize that it's small, and it's certainly small in comparison to the kitchen here, but what's going to be
But is it it looks like a takeout place.
Well, there will be takeout as well, but there is
Is there waiters, or is it just you go to the counter and order your food?
There's a table there which will be wait service, and if the question is over,
I'm just trying to get an idea what's going on here.
They want to have an on-premises restaurant component to what they're doing, and so if it's an issue over a number of tables,
So this isn't about getting permits to do off-site catering.
I mean, I think they'll.
Right.
I mean,
we also do on-premise.
And what are the hours of this restaurant?
I mean, we have regular business hours. There's nothing.
Well, like what?
It'll be lunch and then light bites for dinner and then happy hour, and it'll be closed by 8, 9 o'clock.
And what you're going to open at, say, 11, you're going to close by 8 or 9 every day? Every day?
Only Monday through Friday. We're closed on the weekends.
Which are fairly usual restaurant hours. Full menu.
75 people in there?
No.
No, I mean, so there's a big kitchen, and there are many kitchen employees. I mean, they're doing.
And you're saying there is, for the one table that's there is going to be a waiter?
That's right. Who can bring the food out of the kitchen?
And then there's going to be counters that people stand at?
You can also order to go at the counter. I mean, their business for 7 years has been, corporate lunches, business like Goldman Sachs.
No, I'm not questioning his ability to cater events. I'm questioning whether he's trying to circumvent
And
the need to get somebody else to hire him because he doesn't have a license. Meaning that someone with a liquor license would have to hire him at this point, correct?
I mean, he hasn't done any events at this point in time that involve alcohol whatsoever.
And that's what the goal is here.
He wants to be able to have an on-premises component to what he's
So that
doing.
he can have off-premises catering.
Well, he'll certainly be entitled to that.
Right.
There's no.
But let's call a spade a spade. That's what he's looking to do.
Well, that's not.
if I may.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it.
No, that's all that. That's not all that he's looking to do.
Okay. Can we take 2 minutes to talk to?
All set, Jonathan? All right, we're back on the record.
Yeah, we're not trying to hide.
No, I get, I'm not, that's not my, listen, let me talk. My concern is that and I'm not indicating there's anything wrong with what he's trying to do, because the law doesn't give him another way to do this. So, but my concern is that I need to be able to tell the next person that comes in here and wants to do the same thing that the restaurant has to have more than a stool and a counter for one person. Now, you got right now 4 seats, and that's it.
We got a 4-top. I'm not aware of a minimum table requirement. We can add.
Well, I'm gonna make one.
Okay.
So now you're gonna be aware of it. I need another table, and I need stools all along the counter.
No problem.
Another 4-top and stools all along the counter,
Very doable.
and then I'll approve it.
Thank you very much.
And now that will seat, what, like 8? Is that what you're saying?
8, and then
And then
whatever,
at the counter,
4 at the
yeah,
counter,
4
3 at the counter, whatever you got.
Yeah. Very well.
You agree with that, Commissioner?
I'll approve as well under those.
Thank you very much.
I'm not going to get into the hours. Just, he's going to have to be open 5 days a week, though.
Yes, he'll have bona fide hours, 5 days a week.
Okay.
Next, we have 3 related items, 1052, 1053, and 1054.
I brought the big guns on this one, Mr. Chairman.
Should I stand against the wall?
It's Robert Brookman from Pazetsky and Brookman. I wanted to make, before Max takes over the case, we both wanted to come here because my comments are wearing my other hat as counsel to the New York City Hospitality Alliance, and I didn't want to confuse the two. So if you just give me a couple of moments. These related applications that you're just going to hear about are concerning the issue of minor corporate change applications, which were disapproved. We have, as I've learned, representing the industry, and the New York City Hospitality Alliance has over 2,000 establishment members throughout the city. There is a problem out there about people not understanding what corporate change is and when it's required to be filed, and it's massive. Not everybody is like, Deputy Commissioner Held or Tom Donahue here who's lived it and knows it. There's a lot of misinformation and a lot of lack of information out there.
Isn't that what your organization's there
took the words out of my mouth. As a result of that, a number of months ago, we did an alert on our website, which is widely read. I think it was about a year ago now, thereabouts, concerning what the law is on corporate changes, and it did, in fact, result in quite an uptick in the number of corporate change applications you received, including these individuals who read it, on our website. We as an industry need to do a better job. Quite frankly, we need the help of this agency to work with us in doing a better job in educating the industry concerning it. There's a lot of people who feel that once you're licensed, you're not required, just because there's some minor changes that have gone on. Your chef is leaving, you're giving him 2, 3, 4, 5%. Most people believe, and some lawyers believe, that that's not a requirement to be filed. Or if you're sharing, you have 4 partners and one's retiring and you're becoming 3, not adding people, that's not required to be filed. There's a general misinformation about this 10% rule, I got to tell you. There are people even with new applications that come to us and tell us that they, this guy's is a passive investor, he only has 8%, therefore it's under 10%, and it doesn't have to be filed. You don't need that. We've lost cases as a result of saying, oh, yes, you do. So I just want you to know that it's in the public interest. It should be in this agency's interest, in the public interest, to get more of this information out and to encourage licensees to come forward as a result of that information and file their applications without fear of being denied simply because they're filing it after the fact. I think we want you to have accurate information. You need accurate information. We want there to be accurate information, and I think that's the introduction I wanted to say here. We don't want to send a message out that if you weren't aware and haven't filed these corporate changes, don't file them, because if you do, you're going to get in trouble. I don't think that's the message that we want.
amnesty program you're talking about?
Perhaps we should discuss that,
Not today.
Not today, but our alliance would certainly be willing to do an educational program where, you send counsel, and maybe we'd talk about amnesty period after that. And I think there are literally thousands of licensees out there that need to clean up their ownership structures.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not going to add much more, just to the specifics.
Well, so, I want to know how this happened.
Yeah, so just to
because it did happen, it looked like routinely.
Right, so you have three related entities here, all under the brand Calexico. It's a neighborhood Mexican restaurant. It's started by three brothers and a friend. One of them is with me, Jesse Vendley. When they initially filed their very first application, they disclosed their proper ownership structure at the time, which was Jesse, 40%. His other two brothers each had 20%, and their friend had an additional 20%. And that's how it stayed for some time. Two changes then happened. One was Jesse gave half of his 40 to his wife, who owns half of everything he has.
I'm trying to do the math there. Was that
I got married a year ago. I know from being married only a year. My wife thinks she owns half of everything I have.
I don't want to break it to you as a lawyer. She does.
And she does. And so, I think Jesse's wife, Kathleen, realized, well, how come I don't have half of your 40? So she got half of his 40.
You're still married, I take it.
Yeah. She doesn't operate the place. She has no statutory disqualifications. Giving the half of the 40 to her wouldn't have triggered a community board notice requirement. So there's nothing being hidden here. There's not like this. You can't say that this was done as some subterfuge to hide something from you. It's simply ignorance of the law. The second change that happened is they took on three other brothers, the Oystacher brothers, who combined for an investment, who took a combined, it was like 10.1%. Each of them had like 3% each. These investor brothers are strictly investors. Again, they didn't change the way the place was run. They have no statutory disqualifications. You got their PQs. They have no bad history. It would not have triggered a community board notice requirement. And when these changes happened, they didn't know that it required a modification to the ownership structure that's supposed to be disclosed to the authority. They're minor investors. As you've heard, and I would second it, it's widely misunderstood in this industry. Because there are no statutory disqualifications and because there was no CB notice requirement that would be triggered, I think really the only conclusion you can lead to is that this was simply ignorance of the law. And one more thing. The basis of the denial was that these individuals who were added, Mr. Vendley's wife and these three minor investor brothers, they lack the requisite character and fitness to hold a liquor license. And I just think, based on what's transpired, I just don't think that's the appropriate finding here.
That's the finding they make when there's violations that they're basing it on. I think it's more of a term of art than judging your clients.
It's a judgment that
the only one who determines whether it was intentional or not is us. So,
and I don't think there's a question here about whether it was intentional, Mr. Chairman.
And how did we find out about this?
We came to you. You didn't find out about it.
Okay.
We came to you.
Generally, we find out during the application process when we're trying to get from what we have licensed to where you're at. We're not even close. It takes a while to get through the different levels and the layers of every time somebody hiccups and changes and doesn't notify us. And more often than not, we try to just make sure we try to get them to comply, get us to where you are now. There are some situations there's no documentation. Whether it's a good or bad business practice.
And I don't see any intent here. I just see ignorance. But so I'll grant the reconsideration, and I don't see the point in charging them either. Just can we do a letter of warning?
Once it goes back, and we can. I don't think charges even exist right now. So
I don't. I know, but okay.
You can't do them unless it's granted.
Right. I can't. I wouldn't even.
Okay.
So you just return the licensing?
Yes.
All three?
Yes.
I agree. I don't think there's anything intentional either, and I also agree there's definitely confusion out there on this. But that's for another day. All right.
Thank you, Commissioner Ford. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. The next item is 1048, Corsica Entertainment, Inc.
Good afternoon, Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Ford, Ravi Sharma for licensee Corsica Entertainment, Inc. This matter is a request to change method of operation to add DJs and live music to an existing licensee that was licensed in 2006.
Yeah, so before you get going, we have some community board members here. We'll hear from them first.
Okay.
Thanks.
Very well.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Susan Stetzer for Community Board 3, along with Clint Smeltzer, Vice Chair of the committee, and Laura Sewell, who's Executive Director of East Village Community Coalition. This has been a complex application for us, but I'll deal with a few issues, each very briefly. First, we acknowledge the support and popularity of this business. Mr. Cummings is very famous, fun, and has been and been promoting on national TV. However, as a city agency with advisory input, Community Board must consider all stakeholders and compliance with the law. Two, the Community Board has actually never opposed the existing grandfathered business. At the time of the committee, I obtained a written finding from Department of Buildings on what was permitted in this grandfathered business. And what they did not allow in their written finding was scheduled performances and cover charge. The committee voted on stipulations based on regulations of this written finding. After the meeting, I provided the written finding to Mr. Sharma. At the full board, there were new claims of a different reading of the regulations, but no documentation. Determination can only be made by Department of Buildings. City Council has no jurisdiction in this. The board members voted 31-5 to deny because there were not signed stipulations, and several commented they could not vote for something that would operate against the law. It was not against the business. It was very much about compliance. After the meeting, I tried 3 times to obtain this new documentation of the different zoning regulations unsuccessfully. So I took the problem to the mayor's office, and they worked with city planning. They had city planning work with Department of Buildings to resolve. I forwarded all the information to Department of Buildings and gave them this May 30th hearing date that we really needed to have some kind of resolution. And I don't know if you're aware of it, but after 5, they came up with revised findings last night. Do you have those?
No.
Okay, can I give you a copy?
Sure. Do you have it?
No, this is me.
I'll give you a copy too. There you go. So the revised findings seem to be seem to say that the new operation would be in compliance. It's not completely clear, but it appears this way. Therefore, the opposition to this, for this specific reason, no longer exists. We will continue, and I got to say, it's been the community board that has resolved this and wanted to resolve it because the interest was compliance. We will continue to ensure all regulations are being met, and we're happy to work with the business to do so. There are some concerns about safety operations, which Clint will address. And then my last 2 comments. First of all, there's been a lot of outside...
So wait, can we just go back to your first thing? So am I correct in saying that your whatever opposition you had regarding the zoning is now been withdrawn?
Exactly.
Then what are we here for?
This came after 5 last night.
I get that. No, I get it.
And
what you're going to say too, or do you have other objections?
Not necessarily other objections, but we need to add...
Chairman, we'll go outside here. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, there are stipulation. We've never heard this under this revised finding, so there are stipulation and a few other concerns.
Okay.
So I just wanted 2 other comments. There's been a lot of outside help on this, and I just want to say that I hope other applicants, many of whom are poor and immigrants and don't understand our regulations, get as much outside help. And I'd also like to say that Mr. Sharma's letter to the community board chair, I thought was one of the most inappropriate and inaccurate documents I have seen with an SOA application.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, Clint Smeltzer, Vice Chair of the SLA Committee. I just wanted to follow up Susan's statement that we did just find out about this last night. So essentially we are withdrawing our opposition. However, when we met with them, we did approve the live music and DJs, but we could not approve the scheduled performances and cover charges at that point because our understanding was it was not permitted. So given that we did not have a chance to hear the item under that, we did not put any stipulations regarding scheduled performances, cover charge, and the additional cabaret-type shows that they're proposing. Laura,
Once again, I'm not following you. What does that mean?
Well, our original stipulation.
Oh, I understand you don't have them. Are you trying to tell me that you want to add some?
Well, yes, essentially because when we left, they agreed essentially that if this was determined to be legal, they would come back at a later time for that. Not in a formal agreement, but that's what they said at the end of our meeting. So we didn't address any of those issues.
Got it.
So the only other thing is, because we're skipping over that. Sorry. The one other thing, there do appear to be some other alterations that have been made since the original licensee was issued back in 2006. There appears to have been a stage, a DJ booth, and some other items added that have been.
Okay, go ahead.
In general, that
She'll
would
check.
come under a complaint if they're currently licensed.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so there is a stage, there is a DJ booth. Those things are currently existing, but were never on the original license. So there does need to be an alteration made to legalize those items.
Okay.
So that's something we'd be more than willing to work with them on, but it is just something that we think probably should be done to bring them into compliance.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Laura Sewell. I'm the Executive Director of the East Village Community Coalition. We work to sustain the built-in cultural character of the East Village from 14th Street to Houston Street and 3rd Avenue to Avenue D. Our police precincts, community boards, and block associations are the only means of recourse for residents who are often afraid to do more than make anonymous calls or ask the community board for help. Speaking out in public can be very intimidating, especially against a well-connected celebrity owner and his fans. Club Cumming is an increasingly popular destination spot, unfortunately located on a primarily residential street without a strong block association. Whether zoning has been interpreted to permit it or not, large groups of people coming and going at once has a negative impact on residents' quality of life in the immediate area, and there have been complaints since the opening of this business. So should the commissioners choose to grant this license, we urge you to attach stipulations to correct the issues that have already been experienced by nearby residents, primarily having to do with sidewalk noise. That it would limit scheduled performances to Thursday through Saturday ending at 12 midnight, that it would not have wait lines outside, that it will designate a staff member to oversee patrons and noise on the sidewalk before and after each performance, and that it will close any front or rear facade entrance doors at 10 p.m. or when amplified sound is playing, and will otherwise have a closed fixed facade with no open doors or windows. We have found that these stipulations help other establishments in the area to be good neighbors, and we hope that they will be applied here. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anything? No, zero.
Just the stuff that we know of.
What kind of live music you thinking about?
I can have Mr. Cummings address that. The live music is just Mr. Cummings. I'm sorry, I just made the same mistake Ms. Stetzer made.
Well, you won't be around long then.
So the live music is there piano and some singing, occasionally some harmonica playing, some ukulele playing, the cello occasionally. It's a small cabaret type performance. This location it doesn't hold more than about 50 people. The DJ booth is non-existent. It is a edge of the wall where somebody works the music.
Is that where the sound equipment was listed on the prior, for the office?
Yeah, it's just right off the end of the bar, I think.
Okay.
It's like
How long have you guys owned this?
This location has been licensed.
No, I know that. I'm asking how long they've had it.
Well, Mr. Cumming and Mr. Nardicio came in as partners pursuant to proper corporate change application
Right.
this past summer to the existing two partners, Mr.
This
Masani
past
is
summer.
here. Yeah.
So was that
in
stuff
August.
all, these alterations that they're talking about, was that stuff all there when you got involved?
They're not really
Okay.
alterations. I don't think there
Well,
really is an
you
alteration.
can make that determination
Someone can call
later.
it- there's a riser that's always been there, and now it's got a piano on it. It's technically a stage now. But it doesn't-
You can make that determination. I'm trying to figure out whether it was done while they were there or before they got there. It was
Yeah,
obvious it was done before they got there.
Yes. So does that answer the question regarding
Yes.
live
Yeah.
music?
And what about dancing?
There's no dancing. It's not permitted under the zoning of this location. Well, not zoning right now. It may in fact be permitted under zoning because of the fact that this is a non-conforming pre-existing use. But at this moment, we're not asking that dancing be added to the license. Okay. We may very well come back to add that, given these findings and now further
So
findings.
can you just
from
specifically
DOT.
say what you want added? Because I know we already had charges and they've already settled those charges. I just want the record to be clear what you want added to the license so that we can.
DJs and live performances.
Okay, and
if you want to add dancing, that's fine too. My clients would not object, I'm sure.
And that would be, you're open 7 days a week?
That's right.
4 o'clock.
Yes.
What is the line situation? Do you have lines regularly? No?
Yeah.
And you said there's 50 people max in the place usually?
It's technically at a 74 license. I mean, it's because it's a non-C of O location, so it's 74. But I don't think you could possibly stuff 74.
What about the address plates thing? 'Cause we don't-
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, the maximum capacity is 74 legally, but I don't think 74 people would be very comfortable in there.
And you have a door person or no?
Only
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
for ID purposes.
You close the doors at 10?
But we don't ever have them open.
Okay.
There's no French windows there.
No. We have the little canopy for
the winter
rain
canopy.
and stuff in the winter. We don't have people congregate outside ever, really, and our security people disperse them.
All right, so I don't know if did you read these stipulations that the community board came up with?
We've heard them. We just
Do you
heard them
disagree
now.
with any of them? Because I basically went through the majority of them, and you just said you comply with all of them anyway.
Right, but obviously, first of all, I mean, certainly the things that they comply with are fine. Limiting the performances.
Well,
to
so I'm going to read them. I'll tell you what it is. Then why don't you read them?
Yeah, sure.
You just cross out this last part here about not have scheduled performances.
I mean, it's not going to affect their business the way they describe it anyway.
Except the living performance part.
I don't think it's in there.
It says you may have recorded or live music.
All right, there's no issue with number 1. No issue with number 2. Although I would say that if my clients would like to be open for brunch on Saturdays or Sundays, they should be able to do that. But the 4 a.m. closings all day.
Well, I generally don't care when you open as long as you close at 4.
We would hate to be back here because they were complaining that they were open before 5
Okay.
p.m. Commercially operate any outdoor areas. I don't know what that's about. If they were able to get a
Sidewalk cafes.
cafe, they could, but I don't know if they can, and that's not part of their operation right now. Again, I'm contractually obligating themselves to the community board isn't something that we're interested in. Close any front or rear facade at 10 p.m. every night. Fine. There is none. That's not a problem. 6, have record music, live non-musical performances, DJs, and promoted events. Would that cross out? But may have 24 private parties per year. You know, if that's not a problem.
You want to have more, or you're fine with that?
I think it's fine. You know,
Okay.
I don't think that's what we
I think the only
estimated
line
that it
to
would
cross
be.
out-
You know,
The only line to cross out, number 6, is will not have scheduled
performances or
on
cover
any date,
cover fee will be charged because that's not part of the statute. Will not apply to any alteration in its method of operation. We'll do what is required by the law, and I think method of operation request is not noticeable to the community board. But if you ask us to do that,
That's
of course we
what.
do
Well,
that.
I know that's why they're asking it because it's not noticeable. But I'm going to require that you do that.
That's fine. That's usually what has been the case, to my knowledge, anytime
Just
anybody
makes
has a
my
method of
life
operation.
easier.
As far as happy hours, I think that that's fine, but if they wanted to change their happy hours to go to 9, they should be able to. Again, I don't think we should have to agree to number 8 per se. And number 9, that's not what they do, pub crawls or party buses. But again, I don't think that this application here on an existing license requires certainly the approval of the community board, much less the stipulation to any specific.
Well, it's actually when they're not going to be stipulations, they're going to be conditions.
Right. So number 9, no comment. I don't think it's appropriate, but nonetheless, that's not their method of operation to have party buses come to the location.
Party buses, yeah.
10, unlimited drink specials with food. I think it's not applicable because it's not a restaurant. And there's obviously specific statutory requirements and laws regarding whether or not it's a special occasion, such as brunch, that allows for endless drinks. The wait lines and designees. Look, if something happens and on one night there's a wait line, they need to control it. If they have complaints, they're going to have to deal with it. So I don't think it's appropriate for number 11 to agree to or be a condition. And number 12, no. Number 13, that's fine. That's already done.
Okay, let me see it. Please. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't realize he was reading yours.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I will vote to approve based on those stipulations, conditions, whatever that you just read.
Did I say yes?
Well, I'm going to change some of them. So he's voting to approve. I'm voting to approve as well. It's obvious that this place is an asset to the area that they're in. Clearly very popular, and I think that there's outlets like this less and less around New York City, so the fact that this one is as popular as it is a good thing, particularly in the East Village. I am going to put some conditions on it, which the community board presented. Its hours of operation, they could 4 a.m. all days. I don't really care when they open. It will not commercially operate any outdoor areas is also a condition. If there comes a time that they want to apply to get an outdoor area, they need to go to the community board first. They have a door person Thursdays through Saturdays, 10 to 4 a.m. Is that? It will close any doors at 10 a.m. every night.
PM.
I'm sorry, PM. It may have recorded live music, live non-musical performances, DJs, and promoted events. It will not have an alteration without appearing before the community board. It may have happy hours up until 8 p.m. each night. If they do want to start having them till 9, just come back here. That's something and it will not host party buses or pub crawls. It will not have unlimited drink specials with food. It will make its best efforts to not have wait lines outside and will designate an employee to be contacted should a complaint arise. That designation should go to the community board, and it will provide a telephone number for residents to call with complaints, once again, to the community board.
What about the 24 private parties per year in number 6?
That's fine.
That's fine as well, too.
You going to add that?
Yes. They can, and so there's nothing in here to prevent you from scheduling events, charging covers. If there is a zoning issue, it has nothing to do with us. It has to do with the board, the Department of Buildings. It's apparent to me that there isn't one. Yes.
Well, I was just going to say, you didn't really incorporate any of the BDCC's requests about dealing with the special events, specifically having someone before and after one of their scheduled performances.
Just have someone on the street to ensure the crowd.
Well, they have a doorman, that's...
That's only Thursday to Saturday. If they're having scheduled performances at night.
I'm not going to require them to do that simply because I realize you may have heard of issues, but we don't have any in our agency since they've owned this place.
So there's been 18 311 calls. We have emails from the neighbors across the street.
Well, no one has contacted us, so, I mean, if we get those contacts, then we'll certainly go and investigate, but as far as we're concerned, they have been exemplary, other than the situation you discovered, which clearly they were not aware of. So I'm not going to require them to have somebody 7 nights a week.
We're asking 7 nights a week just when they have scheduled
I get that, but they have scheduled performances a lot, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, then we're done.
Thank you.
Mr. Sharma, I would just note,
You're okay with the
I would just
Absolutely,
note
yes.
that obviously you have a watchful community board, so I would just encourage your clients to keep an open line of communication so things don't end up in my office.
I think they've already figured that out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you.
I'll get it from them.
Next item is 1022, the Green Brooklyn LLC.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Mr. Chairman, my name is Daniel Grace, and I am the owner of the Green Brooklyn LLC. I'm also an attorney in my own business life, so I've submitted the application on behalf of myself and my partners. And with me, I have...
Good afternoon. My name is Alex Victor. I represent Tejo Restaurant, Inc., which was the seller.
Thank you.
So what... I don't know what this matter, his application was before the full board. I'm not sure why.
I think it was because we had protests from the community board, but it appears that you've worked it out.
Yeah, we appeared before the community board in
Right, Jackie? Is
January.
that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, it looks like you've signed stipulations with them. You're already licensed with your partners in other places, and we don't really have any negative history in those places.
It's the history of the premise that was.
Oh, and the history of the premise was relatively bad, but not.
I'm here to represent the seller with respect to the history of the space, if you have any questions.
Okay, thanks. I don't.
I don't either.
So you're going to run this like the other place?
Very similar. It's a slightly bigger, but it's going to be not an Irish bar, but a pub from Ireland is essentially our concept. So if you've ever been to Ireland, it's the type of spot you would see, not the type of spot you would generally find in New York with an Irish theme. No TVs, just a good atmosphere, conversation, recorded music. Potentially, and we've spoke to the community board about this, and they're fine with it, potentially one time a week we'll do a small acoustic Irish set, but the community board had no problem with that.
I had a note here that you might need to amend the app just to about the recorded music. You said recorded music, and you said maybe 3-piece live.
Yeah.
So,
If that's what you want, we will. We just don't know if we'll do it. We already do it in our location in Brooklyn, and we don't.
No, you don't need to. He doesn't need to amend it if we grant it, right?
Yeah, if you grant it, you don't.
Yeah.
have to-
Oh,
no,
all right,
it's just-
okay.
it's part
So
of the
I'm
SIP.
okay with this. 4 a.m. closing. How many days? 7 days a week you're open?
7, yes.
And I'll do live music based on what was presented to the community board.
Thank you very much.
Good to go.
Still have pool tables too?
No, that's gone.
Okay.
That's gone. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next items, 10,006, 10,007, Capital Enterprises, Inc.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman.
How are you doing?
Commissioner, my name is Anthony Tyrone. I am here on behalf of Bruno Jaffray. I'm also General Counsel for the entertainment facility of the Capitol Theater.
So this is a hearing which I'm sure you're aware all the charges got dismissed in.
That's correct.
But
Except for one.
which one?
The last one is the one sustained.
Second proceeding.
Trade name.
Trade
Oh,
name.
okay.
Garden.
My problem is, and I asked you to come in, is yes, the charges were dismissed, but it's clear to me, having read this, that there was smoking going on significantly in this premise. Now, there's two things I can do here. I can overrule the ALJ, which I don't intend to do, because of how long you've been open and what you provide to the community. But you guys got to do something about it.
If I can answer that, Mr. Chairman, I am general counsel. I've been involved with the theater for probably 7, 8 years now. In the early stages of this, it was a rehabilitation of a theater that had been empty for about 40 years. The operator, Peter Shapiro, put several $1 million into rehabbing a theater. It's a Thomas Lamb Theater built in 1926. And the facility and the structure are very large. Ceilings are very large. In the early stages of this, people did come in and try to smoke. Based upon my involvement, the operator's involvement, the on-site general manager, all very experienced in the entertainment facility, Green Mountain Concert Services provides the security service there. At a minimum, there's between 38 and 50 security guards in every show. What we've done over time is we do searches at the front door. We do spotting in-house. We've arranged other spotting through video cameras. There's 36 banks of video cameras. I acknowledge and admit that at some point in time, people did try to get away with smoking. The incident of that at the present time, and going back a couple of years, is minimal. At the present time, the policies and procedure in place are to identify, record the name. First time you get to go back in, second time you're removed from the theater, you're not allowed to come back at all. So I can tell you, being on site on a regular basis, Tom Bailey, who's the general manager, 30 years in the industry, Pete Shapiro, 30 years in the industry, the incident of smoking at the present time are minimal. We do have a full-time security risk manager on site who is his alternate job is a full-time paid firefighter. We also have 3 full-time fire watchmen, firefighters in-house at every show. They're also professional firefighters working off-duty or a side job for every single show, again, for the sole purpose of watching the smoking. There's a very serious concern to the theater, to myself, and to the operator. So your words are taken very, very succinctly and to heart on this issue.
All right, so dismiss all the charges except 4 in the second proceeding.
The second proceeding, the last charge was the
unauthorized trade
name. And if I can, Your Honor, with respect to that issue, the theater and Mr. Shapiro entered into a licensing agreement with the family of Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead to display some of his memorabilia on site in a bar within the theater. It's not a separate bar. If you've ever been in New York City theaters, you'll see there's different bars in the area. This happens to be a bar within the theater. It's not separated, not segregated. As a display of that.
So it's only open when the theater's open?
There's 2 site plan approvals. One is to have it open on itself. It is a self-contained within the lobbies of the theater, if you will. The front lobbies of these Thomas Lamb theaters are very large. So the main room, if you will, which is behind the main theater, sometimes the bar is open for small shows, 100, 200 people, sometimes private events. On those occasions, that bar is open and licensed to do so and has a license and site plan approval. As a result of the display of the Jerry Garcia memorabilia, the bar became known as Jerry Garcia's, and took on that name. At some point in time, we had a meeting with Inspector Cruz, July 2nd, 2016. He did advise us to file a trade name letter, which we did. As a result, in addition, after the trial, we did file Mr. Joffrey did file the endorsement application, and it has been rectified, Your Honor. So it's an error that occurred over time, but not intentional, and certainly not without remedying that.
All right, I'll give a letter of warning given their history.
That's where I was at, too, a letter of warning.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Take care.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate your time. Thank you. Bye.
Next item is 1016, Chelsea Winery, Ltd.
Good afternoon, Chairman.
Hey, so Chris, 3.
Yeah.
I got to withdraw that?
Yeah.
Okay, withdraw charge 3 because it doesn't apply to a manufacturer. I'll accept. This is all straightened out, eh?
Yes. Accept. Great.
Take care.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Next items, 1043, 1044, Suite 36 Hospitality, LLC.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Commissioner, Council, Deputy Commissioner, and Mr. Secretary. I am Michael Ferrari. I'm here representing the licensee. We're here to the right is Jimmy Falk, one of the principals, Lou Palubas, and Aristotle Hatzigeorgiou, 3 of the 4 principals of the licensee. We're here on a conditional no contest offer which has been submitted, and we are here to answer any questions you may have. They're
not open right now?
They are not open right now.
They're selling, or what are they doing?
The license is in safekeeping. The licensee intends to attach a new brand to this space. They would like to be known as Clinton Hall going forward. Currently, there are 4 properties that are operated as Clinton Hall. The ownership is varied, but is related to these gentlemen here. They would like to add this to that group of properties, so they've put it in safekeeping. They've also submitted an alteration application, which has been put on hold as a result of this incident, as a result of these violations, I should say. So, with our hope, we will resolve the.
I said this earlier today when I was arguing with one of the representatives. This place is what I get concerned about. They came in here and wanted to be a restaurant. And that's what we licensed them to be. And then you go on social media and they're advertising DJs, promoters. They're a club. That's not what we signed up for. I don't have problems with clubs. I have problems with people that tell me they're going to be something else and then turn into a club. See, I don't know why you want to waste your time with the method of operation change, because that's not happening, given that there's people firing guns off at the place, at the restaurant they have now.
I understand.
But I'll take the $20,000.
Mr. Chairman, if I can.
And remind your clients that there are no promoters allowed, there are no DJs allowed in their premises. And the next time that we see one, do we have anything now?
We do have some pending stuff, but they as far as I know, they've been closed since the safekeeping date, but we do have other pending stuff in this time period.
Mr. Counsel, my understanding from conversations with Margarita Marsico is that the $20,000 is to resolve the existing.
Well, then you better go back and talk to her, because the only thing we have in front of us is these 2 cases.
I don't even know if these have been promulgated. I just see some complaints that have come in. So
if you want me to take this, I'll take it, but it's not going to apply to those based on what's in front of us.
Can I also respond to what you've just said and put it in just briefly in some context? The gentleman before you purchased an existing space. I think it's 2 years ago, maybe it's 3 years ago, and they filed a transfer application, which was granted. It was their intention midterm intention to create a Clinton Hall or some version of it. And that was what they were working towards this entire time. What they didn't take into account was the delay that was put on them for their plans that were submitted to the Department of Buildings. And as a result, they were waiting and stalling any operational changes that they ultimately intended to make. And that was careless on their parts, and they admit that. They intended to make these operational changes, but they waited for this approval from the Department of Buildings, which ultimately has come. They are now ready to move forward with the alteration application that has been submitted, and that we would ask.
I mean, that they may have waited, but the police went to them, at least the information I have, regarding the need to stop using promoters and to conform to the method of operation by not using DJs. Yet they continued.
I understand that.
Now, you can't make money in the business that you told us you were going to be, then shut it and go start somewhere else. But you don't have the right to just start being something else. That's not the way it works, and you know that.
I understand that. I would just argue that they didn't start being something else. They took over an existing business, and they passively let it stand as it was, and that was a mistake, and we've had a discussion about that, all 3 of them with me. It was not their intention, and they wanted to make the change. They wanted to make the change, and they were delayed. That, obviously, with the benefit of hindsight, that was a mistake. I'd also like to just, a minimal point I'd like to make is that they did notify the community board that they would have DJs, and the community board did not object to it. My office, I failed to put that on the application. It should have been, and it would have.
Well, I would
rights,
suggest they
been
go to see the police department too, because it's rare that we get a call from the commanding officer of a precinct about a location, and we got a call about this place.
I understand, and I think
that goes a long way.
If this place is able to proceed as it intends, the police department, I would argue, will be very pleased with the results. It will be a completely different atmosphere from just down to the decor, which will be, it was dark and lounge-like, and it is going to be similar to their other properties, the Clinton Hall properties, which are light and airy and I'll say family-oriented, although, you know.
Where are they located?
The other locations, there's one, the original was on 90 Washington Street. There was one at the South Street Seaport. There's one that opened about 2 years ago in the Bronx, on Arthur Avenue in the Bronx, and there's one recently, not much of a track record, one in Brooklyn recently, and on 51st Street.
We have
Pod
problems with any
Hotel.
of them?
I have to look at all those.
I would say no. 2 of them are relatively recent, so that doesn't demonstrate much. The one in the Bronx, no problem for 3 years. The one on 90 Washington, to my knowledge, he bought into an existing business.
Well, if you can live there, you're doing all right, because that place, they'll let us know. Trust me.
Sure, absolutely.
You guys have only been licensed for a little over a year. You know, it looks like everything went crazy here New Year's Eve. I'm sorry, Christmas Eve.
There were... Correct. I would agree with you, Mr. Commissioner. There was a bad incident, and they have re-examined their policies. They have recently had at another location associated with this. They've had I'm sorry. Can you talk about the insurance policy that was brought in, or the insurance services? Can I have
our management? Our management hired. Our management got trained as a TIP certified instructor, so we're now training all our staff in-house, and we also hired a consultant by the name of to do a hospitality training and security training to all our staff and management. It is called...
Is it Pike?
Pike. No, it's Nightclub Security Consultants did it. The gentleman's name was Robert Smith. We shut down for 3 days, and it was a 3-day training program for all our security and all our managers.
Okay.
If I may speak, Clinton Hall is a brand that's about super craft beer. If you've heard of the beer, we don't have it, so it's high-end beer, hard to find, single batches. It's about good food and some games like Jenga and Connect 4 and stuff like that. So we generally don't have any issues. It attracts family and events, corporate events. And that type of stuff. It was always, we bought it about a year ago. We just couldn't get Department of Buildings approval to shut it down, and we were trying to run it, and we messed up.
Okay.
All right.
So we'll accept.
I accept $20,000 and hopefully no more calls from the CO.
May I ask, will this allow us to proceed with the alteration application?
Yeah, if that's the direction you're going in with what he just described, yes.
Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Right? We don't have anything else. You can just, does he need to refile that, or?
I could
Reactivate
submit a request for reconsideration if necessary.
For that one, yeah, just send me an email you want it reactivated.
I will.
For the alteration.
Okay.
Next item is
Thank you.
1023, SBC Holdings, LLC.
Remember to answer your question you had before, there was no history.
With Clinton? What?
You asked about the manager, if he had any history or where he used to work. No.
Oh, with this place?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Commissioner Bradley.
Good
My name is
afternoon.
Glovine Matone. I represent the applicant, SBC Holdings, LLC. With me today is Peter Sicilian and also Brian Devine. He's the proposed manager in our application. We did a personal questionnaire for him, and he will be here to explain to you the changes that are going to be made.
This is Peter Sicilian?
This is, that's okay. His father is Peter Sicilian. He is undergoing treatments, so being here today, but Pete is his, I like to call him his GC, a business manager for him, a consultant, if you will, in trying to get this
And
place.
he is, what is your name again? I'm sorry. Brian Lee, and he's going to...
Denise, he is I did a
Manager.
personal questionnaire for
Okay.
him. He's
All right,
proposed,
go-
he will be running this place. It's obvious that we're here today. This is a new application, a new corporation. The prior history at this location is bad. There's no other way to put it. I was the attorney of record for Safari Beach Club for the purposes of the purchase and for the lease. I did not do their liquor license, nor did I defend them in any of the charges that have gone on in the past couple of years. My office is a block away from this location, and I grew up in Bayside within walking distance. So I'm very familiar with Bayside, Bell Boulevard, which, as you can see, I would assume you're familiar with. It's a very populated area now over the years with restaurants. The prior licensee, I am not here to throw him under the bus. James Gargan had great intentions. However, he got married. He went back to college.
That'll do
he
you
moved. You know what I mean? So, I didn't mean to put it that way. Don't tell him I said that. He moved to the island. Everybody knows you have to be hands-on. Now, if you look at the dimensions of this place, that's what makes us unique on Bell Boulevard. We are the biggest place on Bell Boulevard. Our CO goes back to December of '93, and it is specific in our CO that it is an establishment and included dancing. Now, this, again, I'll tell you from personal experience. I've been coming up here for 30 years in this area. That's one of the things that we pay the most rent on Bell Boulevard, $16,000. What we are looking to do here, I'll say it briefly because I think Brian's going to calm a lot of your fears about history repeating itself. Management failed, and there really was not a security plan in place. I would say there would be two, and I'm going to say bouncers rather than security. And a place that size, it's very easy for things to get out of hand very quickly. And again, there wasn't enough management. You know, while the owner himself was a manager, at times it seemed like it was being run by the people that worked there rather than management itself. And again, I don't know if you want me to turn it over to Brian to let you know what
I
his
mean,
plan is.
I guess my question is, so obviously you're the owner's son,
Correct. Proposed owner.
and he lives in Florida.
Pete lives in Whitestone. His dad is a bit of
So who, other than the manager, who's going to own this place? I know he's owning it on paper, but he's in Florida, so he's not going to be here.
Well, he will. He lives in Whitestone with...
No, you. So you're going to be here.
Yes,
So why aren't you on the license?
I run a development company right around the corner. We have shopping centers in different states, so I'm over there whenever is possible. I'm literally 600 yards, but I'm just...
So why aren't you involved in this? I'm not following what's going on here. Why would your father, at his age, not saying he shouldn't want to be involved in it, but he doesn't live within 1,000 miles of the place,
I think I can answer that.
and he's 85 years old.
Well, when the Safari Beach Club purchased and went forward, he was a lender in that transaction. This was disclosed on our current application as well with the financials. He was a lender. He knew Jim Gargan. So there is an element here of saving. I don't want to call it an investment. He wasn't seeking to be part of it back then when he first did lend him the money. However, we're talking about a couple of $100,000. His plan, our goal, we do have Brian coming on as a manager, and again, he'll speak to you, and he is hoping down the road to come back and add him to the corporation as a principal member.
So did he end up taking this place from the former owner?
Basically, yes, because
Okay.
the former owner, as
No, I
you
got
can see
it.
last
All right.
year, things started to... I tried to do a corporate transfer back in 17. It got denied because of the open matters that were going on. And Pete was, you can only suggest to an owner what to try and do. Pete was consulting in that regard with the prior owner, Mr. Gargan, trying to make suggestions, but it didn't work. We were denied in March of 2017 as far as the corporate change application. It has been closed since December already. It expired in December. I believe the CNC that was accepted was cancellation and bond. That was done in February. However, the license expired in December, so it has been closed for 5 months.
So you have stipulations with the community board?
Correct. And just so the letter, I don't think, made it very clear. Not only did we sit down with the community board, NYPD was there as well. The 111 precinct has let themselves be known on Bell Boulevard and Bayside in the past year. I have many clients over there. So has the community board. This is how we want things run. So the NYPD was at this meeting as well as 5 of the community board members. Some of the things, security. So we're required to have 4. They want them to wear certain types of shirts so that if the 111 has to go to that location, they can clearly see who's security and who's not. I'm trying to think, that was security. Oh, they asked us with scanners. That's another thing that the prior licensee, he was not using a scanner at the door. And it seems that a lot of people go to college in Connecticut. So the scanners now is something that has been purchased and ready to roll with that. The NYPD has asked us that if, in fact, someone is asked to leave for causing any trouble, they be banned for life, and to keep a record of that, which these scanners can do nowadays. Like I said, the 3 New York City Police Department, 1 was a sergeant, 2 were officers, and the 5 members of the community board, they unanimously backed us up as long as we complied with those.
So what are the stipulations? Because I don't have a copy of them, do we?
That was submitted, I think I had submitted it with the 500-foot hearing, because we've done reconsideration, we've done the 500-foot,
Do you have any, Jackie?
Can I approach?
Yes. Oh, I do have that. That's not really stipulation.
That's what they provided to me. They did not, not as formal as they didn't report
So
it.
that's it. There's no hours. They don't care about the music, the DJs, any
It's
of it.
all in the community. It was all.
Do you have any outside seating?
No, none whatsoever.
All right.
But,
All right, I'll vote to approve with the community board stipulations, which is basically in writing there, and it requires security guards.
Okay. Will this activate the temps? Because we have a bar, additional bar, and then the temps. The temps are.
You have a temporary license.
Well, at this point, I don't even know if I need it because the only thing outstanding.
Well, you could open if you could get the temp tonight. So if you want to open tonight, you could.
Tomorrow, come on. Right. You're going to lose money on that, so you might as well, we can have those activated.
We can.
We can.
Yep. Tomorrow?
I'd have to look to see if they have any conditions. There may be some
Friday's fine,
conditions.
too. I mean,
We'll work on it tomorrow.
Who do I reach out to in that regard? Just, okay.
Good
Thank
luck.
you very much. Thank you very much.
Think your father's nuts, but good luck.
Next item is 1110, El Pillo, Inc.
Good afternoon. Isaldo Fernandez, attorney for El Pillo, Inc. I have with me today the president, Mr. Yayiko, and we're here for a reconsideration hearing. The reconsideration of a cancellation order that my client was served with early May with regards to...
So what's the address that your client has? And Jackie, can you just check this for...
I'm on it.
8413 Northern Boulevard, Jackson Heights.
That's the wrong one.
That's the premises address.
We have 8415 Northern Boulevard for the premises. What's his home address?
Oh, the home.
No, 8413 is
Oh, the licensee's landlord. Okay, what's his home address? Is he in Laddingtown, New York?
Yes,
2 Overlook Road?
that's correct. Yeah, 22 Overlook.
Because this was returned to us as undeliverable, which I assume means they couldn't find the address, right?
He's at 21 Overlook Road. My client was just telling me. He never received the underlying...
No, I know he didn't because it got returned to us.
But he received the cancellation notice. He had never received the actual underlying
They
notice of
always
pleading.
do receive that. So his address is 21 Overlook Road. All right, I'll send it back to counsel's office.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you want to?
Yeah, because I mean,
You wanna do away with
If I
this?
remember, counsel, I stayed this, then the
Yes,
chairman.
thank you very much,
say-
counsel,
Yeah,
yes.
that's right. I think it makes more sense. Just
You want to pay $500?
Yeah, and then,
We'd love to.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Thank you.
500.
500, yeah.
Make sure, though, it doesn't look like he defaulted on the record. I don't know if we keep those records, but,
No, it will go down as a conditional offer.
okay.
Next item is 1064, Ming Shang Gift Shop, Inc.
After this one, we'll take just a break.
Yes.
Yeah. My name is Rocky Yang. I represent the Ming Gift Inc., Gift Shop Inc. And I have the applicant. right here.
Okay. You're the applicant, or she is?
She.
We denied this, and you're asking for reconsideration.
Yes, sir.
What did we miss?
I think like I sent in the information regarding the competition and also the square footage of the store.
But we had all that information when we considered it.
I know, but if you consider 1,500, in fact, the first floor on the store is only 900. If you take out the
I don't know that that had a lot to do with the denial. I think that the denial had more to do with the fact that there are 4 liquor stores in under a mile
we
in this
understand that.
community.
We understand that, but if you look at the submitted application, you can see that some of the store, there's a lot of high rise there, and then and then per household and per population per store is way over the neighborhood.
This is all information we had when we considered this the first time.
I understand.
Also, I don't, there's nothing that's going to change my decision based on you haven't presented anything new. I mean, what we decided was she's going to be serving the same products to the same, and the same services to the same group of people that the other stores are already doing. So there wasn't any public convenience or advantage to adding another one.
Because there's a shopping mall, there's only one with the parking lot. They have outside people coming in too, not just there's a supermarket right next to it. They have a parking lot that's rare in fashion area. And also the competition is good to the community.
There's no question, but there's other things that we have to look at. And
we understand, but
one license was just issued in August of 2016. It's just 0.3 of a mile away.
Which one is it?
Well, it was an existing liquor store already, but the sales of the closest stores are either flat or unknown at this point, and the population numbers in the area are stagnant. So there's nothing here for me to reconsider. I'm voting to deny.
I'm voting to deny as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can we take 5 minutes?
All right, we're going to take a brief recess. Ready? All right, we're back on the record. The next item is 1065, Soto Lastelli, Inc.
Good afternoon. My name is Valerio Marci, and I'm the owner of Soto Stelle. It's an Italian pizzeria in Sunnyside. I was here on February 28th in order to request an extension of my temporary permit. My license was approved with conditional approval. The
CFO yet?
The CFO, no, I'm working on the letter of no objection.
I know, but you've been working on it for over a year. We can't leave you operating without, for the length of time that you have, without some authorization from the city.
I understand. When I got the place,
Well, how long, when do you think you're getting it?
I 3 more months.
See, I can't. There's no way. You're going to have to reapply. How many months are we at with this thing?
Started, let's see, I actually had that written down. We conditionally approved in June of last year.
Yep.
So we're almost at a full year.
Yeah.
And you're telling me it won't be until at least fall?
You know, what happened is when I got the place, the restaurant has a liquor license. And so I thought was everything okay.
Listen, I'm sorry that this is happening, and it doesn't really matter to me what the reasons are, but I'm not putting, without this for this length of time, it causes problems.
I understand. I'm working on the jobs from the Patio building from 1993.
Hold on, can we go outside for a second? I'm sorry. I'm going to give you the 90 days. So what's that take us to?
90 days from today?
Well, take it to September 30th. Take it until September 30th.
We're running 30-day increments, and your current temp expires on June 5th.
All right, so
we'll
take
just
us...
do 90 days from then.
Okay, 90 days from June 5th. If you don't have it by then...
No, I'm going to work.
I know.
I
You
want
were here last time and told me the same thing. It's starting to sound like a broken record. Don't even bother coming back.
Okay.
Just shut, because at that point I'm going to believe you're not getting a C of O. So...
Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Commissioner, you good with that?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Next item is 1068, Sakura 88, Inc.
Say the number again, Tom.
1068.
Hi, good afternoon, members, chairmen. Jenny Du from Michael Floyd, Inc. And on my right-hand side is the president of Sakura 88, Inc., Ping Lin. This is a refund.
So you're asking...
This is a refund.
Yeah, we denied it
application.
last time because she was availing the other license, right?
Yes, but she already, after she talked to us and we verified and she correct immediately, license already surrendered immediately. And
Okay,
then,
what's the hours that she wants to have?
and from 10:30 from 11 to 10:30, and she was.
All nights?
No, 10:30 a.m.
No, 11 a.m. until 10:30 at night?
30, yeah, p.m.
For all 7 days of the week?
Yes. Yeah, for 7 days a week.
And what's the music?
That's recorded.
Just recorded music, no live
recorded.
music, no
No,
DJs?
No.
It's a sushi restaurant?
It's a sushi restaurant.
All right, I'll approve 10, I don't care when she opens, but shut by 11:30 every night.
Yeah. Yes. It's okay.
And just recorded music.
Same here.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next item is 1049, Sal Sazan LLC.
Good morning, good afternoon, Chairman.
Good afternoon.
This was a hearing.
Yeah, dismiss 1 and 2.
Yeah, dismiss.
Thank you.
That was just to you.
Yeah.
Next item is 1075, Acri Cafe, Inc.
Stacy Weiss for the licensee. This is CNC.
You know what happens on the next one? The only reason they're still open is because you got 4 this close together, otherwise you'd be shut. But I'll accept $15,000, 2-week suspension.
Thank you.
You get one more in the next 5 years, it's over.
And you still have the other penalty that's due.
Yes, I know, yes. He's going to pay that one.
Okay.
So what happened here? Is the same person serving or what?
Yes, it was the waitress.
Okay.
And they all took it, we have ATAP. Would you like the receipts of the ATAP? they
No,
took?
you can send it to so you get those, Tom, the Secretary's office?
They
I mean,
They're not going to do anything.
Yeah, you can't get any discount with it because of the numbers, because of the history.
Oh, no, yeah, we know that, but they showed that, they took the ATAP course and we got a scanner now.
Good, I hope it works.
All right.
All right,
good.
thank you very much.
1067, Chiquita Deli and Grocery NY Corp.
And what?
1067.
I do have it.
Excuse me, Chairman Bradley, she needs to translate for
All
me.
right.
She forgot to request a translator. You don't have a
I don't think we can do that.
We can,
No pueden hacer eso, tiene que, you want
I
to.
hope, we can hold this over to the next meeting. And we can have
We'll get her a
translator.
translator, but I can't have you doing it.
Dice que te va a buscar una traductora, pero que no puedes permitir eso aquí, ahora. Solo
Okay.
pide para la próxima.
Okay.
Okay? All
So
right.
June,
La próxima es
Come back on June 13th.
junio 13.
And a Spanish translator?
Y ya.
All right, we have a Spanish translator here for you,
Y
okay?
van a tener un traductor en español.
Para junio 13.
Para junio 13. What, you want to hear at 10, correct?
yeah, and she'll get to go early because sign in because the translator, we want to get out the door, so.
Que te va a dejar ir temprano porque quieren que el traductor se vaya temprano.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
So we hold that?
Yep. Sorry, I just spend all day for that.
That's over, yep. Next item is 1084, Ruby 1909 Corp.
Good morning again, members of the authority.
1084.
This is Ruby Rosa. I'm the representative for Elvis Silverio. He would be here, but when we got notice of this, he had already planned his Memorial Day vacation, or he would have been here. I actually would like a dismissal on this.
No. Letter warning.
Okay.
That's
You don't get many of them, so.
Next item, 1024, Bridgehampton Wine Cellar, Inc.
Good
Good afternoon, Commissioner Ford, Chairman Bradley, Thomas McCowan with the applicant principal, Christopher Bodoris. It's an application for an alteration at a retail liquor store.
So he's just looking to add the store next door?
Yep, it became available. I sent you something briefly to that effect, and just,
Is there any opposition here? No? We did get a letter from Wayne Scott, Maine Wine and Spirits.
But if you can, I was able to foil that, and if you read it carefully, I think it's mistaken. The opposition appears to be confused that perhaps it was a new liquor store, an application for a new liquor store, because he references this licensee, which is known as McNamara Liquors. Yeah. So if you read it carefully, he's talking about the 4 nearest stores, of which we are one of them.
So he thinks somebody's moving in right
he
next
thought
to him?
that's my sense, that he thought it was a new licensee. Chris has been here for a dozen years. It's a tremendous shopping center, and over 1,200 parking spaces, and it's a great location. And just through fortuity, and unfortunately, Payless Shoes, the national company's gone bankrupt.
So how much of that's going to be retail?
What he's presently at 3840. We're adding the additional space, 2660. So if you work the numbers, which I've done, anticipating the question, it'll be approximately a little more than 4,500 retail, with approximately 1,700 storage, and then, which is the nice benefit, which he desperately needs. They have a dedicated tasting room for educational classes and other. Right now, it's cramped, and the product is everywhere, and it's just not a pleasant patron experience just through the almost claustrophobia in the store. So there's a great opportunity, and I think it benefits the patrons. It's one-stop shopping in the shopping center, which hits public convenience and advantage right on the head.
I have a lot less problem with it being 4,500 square feet retail. Like the chairman said, we got a protest from a store 3.7 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the closest ones did not. So I'll vote to approve.
I will as well.
Thank you very much. That's great.
Good luck.
Good luck.
See you 1 second.
Next item is 1120, D&G Bum Bum Bar Corp.
This is a finding of fact. The charges were not sustained.
Yeah, dismiss 1 and 2.
Next item,
He didn't vote.
I know, waiting too.
I thought you did. Sorry.
He doesn't have it yet.
Dismiss 1 and 2, yes.
Okay.
Thank you for your attention. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Next item is 1029, Matahiko African Restaurant and Lounge, Inc. Did I pronounce that right? Somebody sign in for that? Okay, let's try.
So why don't we just do it?
Sure.
This is a no contest defaulted hearing, 1029.
Yeah.
For availing and
I may have pulled it up by mistake, so.
So sustain 1, sustain 2, sustain 3, cancel and bond.
cancel and bond.
All right, let's go with 1098. La Agrocatella Lounge, Inc. Yeah, let's see what the other one was.
Good afternoon to the board. Michael Ivansiu for the applicant, Ivan Duque, La Catala Lounge.
Got a lot going on here.
We do. On April,
Am I correct in saying that the person arrested for prostitution was an employee?
that is
Or
not
was
true.
an employee, I assume?
It's not true. We're here to request a rehearing. We want to withdraw our no contest.
So, counsel, I just want to be exceedingly clear with you at the moment. You watched the same video I watched. We watched it together.
We have it on video?
Oh, yeah. And this deal was to save your client's license. I know exactly what I saw in that video because we watched it together. In fact, many of the prosecutors made sure that we've seen what we've seen. And I said at the time that I suggested, and I very rarely do this myself, that you take this deal and run into the hills. Because if it came back otherwise sustained, I was going to ask that this license be revoked and that your client never see a license again. So I want to make it clear in front of the board that I very clearly saw what I saw on that video, that if we try this, these charges will be sustained. Your client, at that point, I will ask the board to revoke and that your client never see a license again. So this is your chance. And I will defer as to what they want to do on the $10,000 offer.
I was actually going to increase it, but I'll stick to it. But I will revoke it. If one of these charges, one of the prostitution charges is sustained, it's going to get revoked. And if it is on video,
and it's clear.
Soliciting or the act itself?
Both.
I have
No, it's the soliciting.
The video is clear.
All right. Says soliciting.
It's a
We all
cop.
watched it together to make sure that we were all
But it's
on
a
the same
cop,
page.
right? It's an undercover?
I think, I don't know if it's undercover.
Yeah, it's an undercover.
There's some good questions.
So my client's been at the premises for 34 years. This is the first time they've had such an issue come up. He's taking issue with the police activity at the scene on the day in question. And
2 days in question.
2 days in question, correct.
Actually, it's 3 days in question.
it was
Books and records were, that was another date. So we got March 17th, March 22nd, and April 8th. And I'm assuming on April 8th, we were there?
That I don't know, but I'm assuming we have books and records.
So it's 3 days. So which particular day is he?
He's contesting the March 22nd.
There was no 22nd. It's the 24th. Oh, I'm sorry. There is a 22nd, yes.
There is 22nd. On that date in question, my client has information to offer to the board, indicating that the police officer brought the person with him onto the premises, and then the arrest or whatever events happened subsequent to the arrest happened at the premises. But the video will show that the police officer came in with the woman that eventually solicited him on the premises.
Is he saying, and I'm not going to get into the facts of this, but what was notable to me was the woman that solicited, I'm assuming it was a woman, is that correct? Was an employee of his.
That's an allegation. What they do is they bring in girls on a weekly basis, nightly basis, different girls.
Who brings them in?
There's a person that.
So they're mingling at the bar with the men.
Right. So they come in.
So all right. So he can contest the March 22nd. What's he going to say about the 17th? Because it only takes one, and he's done, and he won't get a license. And not only that, but there won't be a license at this place. So, and I don't really care what he's going to say. I need a decision. That's for another person to deal with.
Una vez.
You want to go sit in the back with him and come back?
Sure.
Okay. Next.
Next item is 1111, Hygiene Inc.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Commissioner.
Hi. So does your guys have a temp now?
It's expired.
And you got significant objection from the city as well as the police department and the fire department. You aware of that?
No, we're not.
They're telling us that your clients, while not selling alcohol, are permitting customers to bring their own into the establishment, which would be not only a violation, but a crime.
According to the applicant, they're not even open right now.
Well, like the letters from when they were open, March. Did they let people bring alcohol into the place? So they're making it up. You get all your inspections,
Yeah.
and you have a corrected C of O?
It's waiting on an HVAC that is being installed this week. But the plumbing, electrical have all been approved, fire department, sprinklers, and fire alarm.
And did you clear up the C of O violation?
Yes.
You have evidence of that?
It was submitted with the paperwork that.
I think I sent it in before.
I mean, I think you really should go back and deal with the town, because I don't know that I'm going to grant this, given that they know their town better than I do. And they have severe concerns. I don't know why, because it seems like this is a,
Are they referring to the fact that we had shows in other places?
Do we know what the concerns were that they said?
well, they were concerned that you were permitting customers to bring their own in,
Let me get a copy of that address.
that you operated without a certificate of occupancy, the final inspections were not completed,
Those are old complaints.
they imposed a $500 fine and penalty that was not paid, and another one for a cabaret license that was not paid.
All those fines were paid, right?
Gave you the letter.
Yeah, they were all paid.
Satisfied by the Department of Consumer Affairs. All the open permits, with the exception of the HVAC, have been closed.
Right.
Would you like us to carry this one over to give you a chance to get all that stuff straightened out?
Yes, and you can give me a copy of
I'm
it.
not
No,
going
that's
to vote
fine.
to approve this.
That's fine. You
based
give
on
me a
what I
copy of
have
the
here.
complaints, I appreciate it.
We'll make sure that they were straightened out. When I gone to the building department to get,
Well, I mean, what you would do to straighten it out is go to the city of Yonkers
We'll come back.
and who's the one that objected for the city of Yonkers? And then also go to the Yonkers Fire Department and just get us a letter that said they don't have objections.
Okay.
Captain Christopher DeSantis.
Would I be able to get a copy of that, Commissioner?
Of
the complaints?
just for the fire department, I have their plaque that said they approved us.
I know, we don't have it here, so let's
No,
get back to them.
Well, yeah, but you didn't send any of it to us, I guess, because we don't have any of it. So I'm not going to give you a copy of it if you want to. I mean, all you have to do is go to them and get a letter that says you're clear.
Okay, not a problem.
You don't even have to be specific. Just say that they have no objections.
Yeah.
Okay.
Has to do with inspections. So,
Okay.
all right?
Not a
And
problem.
convince them that you weren't letting
You're
people.
saying from the fire department, and who else you said?
The buildings department,
Okay, not a problem.
housing and buildings.
Okay.
2 weeks?
That's fine.
6/13?
6/13.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next item, 1057, Inshaw Enterprises, Inc.
So we got a check?
We sent it,
So we have the check, Tom?
We wouldn't have it, council's office.
We may have it. If Mark says he has it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Granted. So I'll grant the reconsideration.
thank you.
Reconsideration granted.
1090, Stuart Thomas Banquet Hall, Inc.
Can we submit an offer and compromise on that?
Yep.
Mr. Chairman? And everything has been corrected.
So while this was going on, were they open to the public?
It was basically a private party with a promoter, and basically I did it the first time, and they're not doing it again.
No promoters?
No promoter, no.
All right. I'll accept. But, this is a catering hall. They can't have parties open to the public. You're aware? Is your client
Yes.
aware of that?
Yes, now he is.
Okay.
Yep, I accept.
Thank you.
Next items, 1102, 1103, Tasia Restaurant Corp.
Good afternoon, Matthew Leone for the licensee. This is a conditional no contest plea to settle both charges, for both cases.
Yeah, I'll accept. It's probably low, but you got a good history. So I'll accept.
Okay.
5,500, done since 2008. Yes, I accept.
Okay, thank you very much.
You ready? This just in, are you? Yeah. We call 1098.
Go ahead.
All right, so again, for Lago Catala Lounge, my client will accept the conditional no contest request, make the application for approval. He's willing to pay the fine to salvage his license. He doesn't want to risk, losing his license, but he also wants to make clear that he feels that the police officer in question was, in fact, picking out his business for harassment, and he's very unhappy with that, and he's going to,
He can file a complaint with the police department.
complain with the police department.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And the last items I have signed in are number 1034 and 1035, and then related 1036, 37, and 38. Cuckoo Bar, Inc.
Good afternoon. This should be an offer of compromise to resolve the charges.
I do love seeing you.
I'm not sure that's a good laugh he was giving.
I'm not either.
Do we have anything
But I take
pending?
the good with the bad, Tom.
I doubt, I mean, this is a lot of stuff.
No, I don't think you have anything else.
All right. To avoid a lengthy and protracted hearing,
If it's any consolation to you,
it's not.
but this might be a slight consolation to you. There was a nuisance abatement that was part of this whole thing. We resolved that. There was no closure period with the court under the nuisance abatement action. As a result, they made recommendations for us to have so many security guards in place. All of that's being adhered to, and there hasn't been a problem since that's gone in.
All right, I'll accept.
Both of them?
4,500.
Wait, we got to,
There is something pending from about 2 weeks ago that we just got a referral on, but it's one thing, so.
It's
we'll just have
orderly?
to go from there.
I'll
Yeah, it looks
deal
like
with
a
that.
possible sale to minor, but it's just a referral, so I don't know.
Okay,
anything.
I'll accept.
Accept both?
Yes.
4,500 and 15,000, right?
Yes.
Those are the numbers, yes. Is there any way, FIFO, I can get a copy of that video you were talking about?
No, it's an undercover. It's just a solicitation. There's nothing to it.
I don't have anything else signed in? Okay.
I was thinking the same thing for a minute.
That's why I asked.
Are we ready?
Yes.
All right. 1010.
Accept.
Oh, okay. What happened to 1008? Did we do that one already? Am I crazy?
No, we didn't do 1008, Tom. O'Neill's Stadium.
Should that be 3,000 or?
No, it's got a
I
history.
didn't even have that in my stack. 1008. Yeah, thank you. How about 1008?
6,000.
Accept.
Accept.
1010.
Accept.
Accept.
1011.
Sustain all the charges.
I would revoke.
Yeah, revoke and bond with a prescription.
Ditto.
This place wasn't even open a year.
1012.
I thought this was really low.
I mean, I would note, just a note on the inside of the memo, but I do not disagree necessarily.
Where's the note?
Very top. But I do not disagree that that is low.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll accept.
6,000 accept.
1013.
1013. Accept.
Accept.
1014.
Accept.
Accept.
1015.
Accept.
Accept.
1017.
1,500.
1018.
Accept.
Accept.
1019.
Accept.
4,500, accept.
1025.
Sustain all the charges, cancel and bond. They haven't
They're expired.
renewed?
Expired, no renewal.
Okay, cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
1026.
3,500. Or can I only charge 1,000 because of the ATAP?
Well,
Or does that do itself?
no, you, it was done before. We need to verify it. So what you want to do is it can be 35, and if we verify that the ATAP was good, then we'll have $1,000.
Okay, so 3,500.
That's fine.
Unless ATAP.
3,500.
1027.
Accept.
6,000, accept.
1030.
Accept.
Accept.
1032.
This just didn't make sense to me. This guy's story was that Southern Wine and Spirits left the box of wine there and then came back to get it.
Yeah.
What was going on here? Do you have any clue? All right, I'll accept.
It was a weird one. Accept.
1033.
Sustain charge 1, cancel for the record.
Yep, cancel for the record.
1039.
Accept.
Accept.
1040.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
1041-42.
I'll accept.
Yep, cancel and bond. Accept.
1045.
No. What did I just do here? 1040. Oh,
1041 and 42.
41 and 42, cancel and bond, right?
Right.
Okay, now we're at 1045.
Right.
Right.
Withdraw charge 2 and accept.
6,000, accept.
1046.
Accept.
M46, 1,200, accept.
1047.
Sustain charge 1, 3,500.
3,500.
1050.
I had questions.
I said, let the woman retire.
I mean, Jackie, what?
Which one are you on?
1050.
50, sorry, all right.
I mean, are you comfortable with this or no?
I was on the fence. Whatever you want to do.
You were on the fence?
Yeah, so you.
I mean,
This is the same thing that was going on. You know, this stuff gets convoluted over the years.
Right.
We just- most of the times we try to make it right. It depends on how cooperative they are.
So do you have a recollection if these people are cooperative?
I have no idea.
All right.
You want to send it back, send it back.
I'll grant it and send it back to licensing.
Okay.
Back to license, yes.
1058.
Accept.
1,500, accept.
1059.
I'll approve the change in the delegation.
Delegation approved.
1060.
Accept.
1060, 500, accept.
1061.
Accept.
Well,
I don't have a renewal for these.
yeah,
guys.
I'm not sure how we're imposing a suspension,
If they're expired.
and they haven't, yeah,
How long are they expired?
since end of April.
It's a month now.
Unless you just take, no, you can't.
Take the penalty then.
Just take the 14 days. Don't pay it.
Just do it. They'll either call us or we're not going to get it anyway.
Well, if they don't pay it, then you revoke it.
They revoke it.
Yep.
You good with that, Commissioner?
Yes, absolutely.
1062 is held over to the 13th. 1066.
I would just cancel and for the record since it's already been canceled.
Yeah, so sustain 1, 12, 16, 17, and 18. Dismiss all the other charges and cancel for the record.
Yes.
How about 1069?
Sustain 1, 2, and 3, 500.
500.
1070.
Sustain 1, cancel for the record.
Cancel for the record.
You don't want to do
What?
bond claim?
A what?
Bond claim. They paid it themselves last time.
Oh, okay, yeah, cancel and bond. I didn't know that.
10, you good there, Commissioner?
Yes, yes.
1071, 72.
Accept.
8,500, accept.
73.
Cancel and bond, accept. Name stop and location stop, though.
74 has been held over at the request of the attorney.
6 what?
613. 1076.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
1077.
Sustain all the charges, cancel and bond. This place was a nightclub from day one.
Certainly was. Yep.
1078.
Cancel and bond. Can I cancel and bond on that?
1078 for license.
Just because it's in safekeeping, is it a
No,
point?
it's, well,
Is it not?
it can't be in safekeeping if we issued the AX, so it's not accurate.
Can I cancel on that if I want to? Oh.
Yeah.
So it is.
Blank license.
No, I mean, but it looks like somebody else is there already, right?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is
That is what it looks like.
American Gourmet.
So cancel and bond the American Gourmet. I realize it's a little stiff.
You good with that, Commissioner?
I'm just trying to understand this license.
Yeah, I'm
please.
just trying to see also,
The
It looks like they shut and somebody else
Right, but
that would have been a condition.
took over the location.
Cancel and bond. They'll let us know if it's not right, I'm sure.
Yep.
1079.
Cancel for the record.
For the record?
1080.
25, sustain all the charges, 2,500.
2,500.
1081.
Accept.
1,000 accept.
1082.
What's the max I can do on this, 250?
No, that.
Oh, I mean, what's the delegation usually, though? Is that 250?
I think it's for displays on.
Displaying a license?
Yeah.
License is at 250.
Is it? All right.
It might be.
250.
250.
1083.
9,000.
Yep. 9,000.
1085.
Accept.
6,000 accept.
1087.
1,000.
1,000.
1088.
Accept.
Accept.
1089.
Accept.
7,000 accept.
91 and 92.
Do we have anything else on this?
I can check.
These guys?
It looks like just these two cases. I have nothing besides these two.
All right, well, the licensee sent a letter in with his offer, and it's agreeing to close at 2 a.m. any night he's operating. Can I do that? Since he sent that in, can I put that in the license? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
I mean, the way he structured the letter, that's part of the penalty.
Yeah.
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 All right, so I'll accept with the 2 a.m. closing and 10,000. I was going to bring him in, but a long way. There's all these Mike Amaretto Hamptons cases.
Yep.
1093, 94, 95.
This is all a year ago, 2 years ago.
It's very old. This is old.
I'll accept. This is, it's a bad case, I get it, but it was low.
Yeah.
I'll
4,000
accept.
4,000 accept.
1096,
Accept.
6,000 accept.
1099.
This is the default.
Cancel and bond.
I don't know why Mr.
Isn't that, yeah, because we held this
He,
for
there,
him.
there are 3 cases on this licensee that he has to be held over to today.
Who?
Mr. Allenwick,
Well, now we're going to get recons on him.
do you want to hold him over again?
Yeah, there's no point if he did it.
All right.
6 what?
613. So it's this one, 1099, 1100, and then the one at the very end, which we'll get to.
1127A, yep. Okay.
Okay.
And then 1101's been held over to the 13th, so we have 1104.
Accept. 7 days, 5,000.
1104. What happened to 1101?
We did that.
1101's over to 613.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the hill. So those two, and then another one we'll get to.
1101 is LDD hospital.
I'm sorry, that's over too. The attorney requested
Okay, sorry.
be held over.
1104, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, accept.
All right, 1105.
Accept.
Accept.
1106.
So, is this place open?
A long time to get here, didn't it?
Yeah, what happened here? Not that I...
It took a while for the report to get done. Then when it was sent to me, I said, there's a problem with the dates.
Oh, so these dates aren't right?
No. The original hearing report, okay?
Oh, okay. So, sustained charge 1, cancel, and is there even a bond left at this point?
No.
2 years later?
So just a cancellation?
Yeah, cancel.
Cancel for the record.
1107.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
1108.
Cancel and bond.
Ditto.
1109.
1,500 because of the history.
1500.
1119.
I'll approve the change in the delegation of power of non-calendar items.
Approved.
1121.
This is straight no contest. Withdraw charge.
Oh, no, 1121?
Not guilty.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have the 1120. Oh, yes, I do. Here it is.
11.
Okay, dismiss 1, okay to dismiss.
1120.
1121. We did 1120.
Yeah.
1120 was dismissed, right?
Yes.
Okay. 1121, dismiss.
1122 is held over to the 13th.
I thought that would be happening.
1123.
This is where cartons found in a hidden compartment.
Yeah, but dismiss. What was the reason for the dismissal?
This is one we talked about, because there's no affidavit.
Right. Yeah, dismiss.
Yeah, I had questions about that one, but dismiss.
1124.
It's the other one we talked about.
This is dismiss 1, 2, and 3.
Officer couldn't even tell where the place was.
Well, she scheduled the main witnesses twice on their RDOs. Not once, but twice. And they're not coming. I can tell you that from my past experience.
1125.
Accept.
2000 accept.
1126.
Accept. That's an interesting one. Sold homemade beer.
3000 accept.
1127.
I'm actually going to reduce this because I don't want to be going after every gentleman's club in the state of New York for this.
That's fine.
So, letter of warning.
Letter of warning.
What? I'll say something after the meeting.
What, did you even know that was illegal? You probably did.
We used to treat these very seriously.
The entire state is doing that.
I don't dispute that.
And I checked with Joe, and that's not why they were there. Can I, we're done.
No. We have 1127, which is the Third Hills case. I left the agenda sheet on your...
Oh, yeah, I got it, yep.
That's going to be over to the 13th.
Okay.
With that, I have nothing else unless you have anything else, Chairman?
No, we're done.
I guess we're done.